El Mencho we're gonna be talking about, and whatever the heck is going on in Mexico right now, because it's like absolutely nutty from what I understand. Shit's really going crazy. Shit's really going crazy up in Mexico. I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know what Claudia Scheinbaum did. I mean, full support to Claudia. Full support to Claudia Scheinbaum. There's not a lot of mainstream coverage. It's mostly just like on Twitter and stuff. But anytime I see like instability, I always fear. Anytime I see like any kind of instability, I always think like, well, there's got to be America playing a role there. You know, there's nothing that happens in Mexico happens without America's go ahead on both sides. Not even just like the side of the cartel, on the side of the government too. So now the cartels are retaliating. Mexico's CGNG cartel says they will target anyone found in the streets and tells all residents of Guadalajara to stay home. It's a crazy situation out there. We'll get into it. Seems like they're cracking down on old-fashioned drug lord types to appease Americans. Yeah. There will always be world events in 2026 for the world to calm down. To take a break is a losing game. What is that? Is that ChatGPT? Did you just hit me with the ChatGPT? Did you ChatGPT that? What the heliante? What the heliante? Anyway, you need to crack down on the cartels. I know. But one doesn't simply crack down on the cartels in Mexico, my friend. Cracking down on the cartels in Mexico is like cracking down on America in Mexico. It's like cracking down on the CIA and JSOC. You know, it's not so simple. You feel me? Anyway, there will probably be a lot of uncensored, crazy ass, like insane, ultra violent videos, I suspect. So, you know, be on the lookout on the timeline. There's going to be a lot of TOS. Soy Mencho Way.
Hello, this is Kitty.
What is this? Am I on a target list now? Am I on like some Mexican hit list now that I watched this video? I would be careful about El Mencho. They're really resentful and don't take jokes lightly. Yeah, I have no beef with anybody. Okay, don't put me on. Listen, man, I already got. It's a Mexican meme. Okay, listen, chatters. I already got enough fucking smoke from the Israeli government, the American government. Okay, I'm getting ops in the Miami Cuban Hasbara operation. I don't need to also piss off the fucking cartels. Okay? Stop. Don't fuck with me. Okay? I got ops in the Turkish government. I got ops in the Israeli government. I got ops in the fucking American government. I don't want the motherfucking cartel to also come after me. So he's not afraid of Mossad, but he's afraid of cartels. Because I'm too small fry for the Mossad. I'm too small fry for the American government. I'm not too small fry for the cartel. Okay? That's the difference. Because they do go after fucking influencers and shit. They will literally go and kill influencers. I mean, not in America, usually. But still, they got their hands full right now, but you pissed off the entire city of Miami, Unc? I know. I probably can't go back to Miami anytime soon. Let's be real. Cartel knows we are the real ones because we love Goku and Vegeta. Flights across Mexico are being canceled. Yeah. So we'll look at all this stuff, but yeah, we'll look at OSINT Twitter for the most part on the Mexico stuff, but we'll get started real quick. I mean, there isn't anything going on the personal news front. Let's be real. My life is boring and uneventful for the most part, and I like it that way, and I would like to keep it that way. Okay. Mexico cartel war. Will Israel strike Iran? Cops stop another Mar-a-Lago shooter. Secret Service stops another Mar-a-Lago shooter. Sunday Funday Epstein files. I get it now. Twitch.tv/Hasanabi. Give rest, take care of yourself. It's okay to take a day off for yourself. I know. Do we have a blast off meme chat? Guadalajara International Airport got infiltrated by armed agents and they're setting fire to aircrafts. Jesus fucking Christ, that's insane. Also, RIP to Canada. I can't believe you guys got butt mogged by the American team on your home turf. So close to heated rivalry, putting Canada back on the map and Canadian hockey back on the map. I'm just gonna go with the game was rigged. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, look, let's be real. Let's be real. That's a USA moment right there, okay? Italy is not home turf. No, but you know what's home turf? Fucking hockey. Hockey is home turf. I don't really give a shit about sports that much. Having said that, however, like, I listened to the reports leading up to the game. I listened to like NPR talk about how tough the American chances were here. How America was low-key the underdog going in. No, it's not. It hasn't been since the 90s. No, they were talking about how like the Canadian team is fucking stacked. 3x3 hockey sucks. Not true. We had injuries. Canada was an underdog. I feel like that's cope. Get Elisa Liu on the broadcast. I'm trying. I DM'd her. She has not responded to me because I'm chopped. The people saying the U.S. wasn't the underdog are crazy. They literally got outplayed the whole game and came back to win. Yeah, I don't really fully understand what the hell was going on, I'll be honest. But yeah, Oakland Queen. Elisa Liu, Oakland Queen. Also, the Queen of Public Transport. Pro-Palestine Queen as well. Woke is back. Except the American team winning. Elisa Liu is 20, bro. Dog, I'm trying to have her on the stream to talk to her. Like, you understand that, like, I interview people, right? Like, that's not... You guys are being fucking gross losers for immediately taking it to a place that it's not... Like, what the fuck? I'm a 34-year-old man. We're talking about a person who not only won a category that Americans, I don't think, have ever won. You guys, and it's one gooner. It wasn't one gooner. It was a lot of fucking people saying gross shit. Chat can't be normal at all. U.S. won in overtime, which is sudden death in hockey. It's always a coin toss who wins, unless it's insanely one-sided, which this obviously wasn't. Yeah, it's pretty funny because like the Republicans have been like leaning into Elisa as an alternative to Eileen, because Eileen Gu is like went to Stanford, is also Asian. They're both Asian. They're both half Chinese, right? But Eileen went and skied for China. She's been skiing for the Chinese banner, and she's been China maxing, and I think she's dope as well. I don't know. For me, it's like, not to be super lame about it, but I know the Olympics and things like that are supposed to instill like nationalism, but I care more about like the athleticism and the impressive feats in the competition in general. So whenever someone on the American team is popping off, I'm like, great, that's awesome. If someone is just like, cool, I'm not going to be like, oh, fuck you. You went and you skied for China. Like, how dare you do that? Unless they're skiing for Israel, I'm good. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. But because of that drama of Eileen participating under the Chinese banner and Elisa participating under the American banner, despite both of them being, Chinese Americans, the Republicans have basically decided to make this very clearly woke 20-year-old their card-carrying MAGA patriotic hero.
I support the woke agenda. Smiley piercings are now mandatory. Pronouns for everyone. We will move the U.S. Capitol to Oakland, California.
What is a Bay Area?
Take that, nerds. The whole world has been mocked. While you were just gooning, we were woke maxing. Universal health care and free abortion for all. Tax mocking the billionaires. Government sanctioned sideshows on every freeway in America. Being straight is now illegal. We will extend BART nationwide. Hope you enjoy decent public transit. Red state degenerates. You will listen to Krayshawn. You will eat a hi-fi burger. You will have non-binary roommates. You will love your immigrant neighbors. Just let
All Oakland college girl is probably the least Republican demographic in the country. Yeah. This is like a lifetime Democratic Party voter, if not a person that says I'm actually not voting for the Democrats because they're a part of they're two parts of the same bourgeois liberal capitalist coin. Okay, I don't know how woke she is in general, but it's so funny. It's so funny to look at a person like this and be like, well, this guy is clearly a patriotic American, and we're winning, baby, hell yeah. It's like that's like a PSL voter.
the woke consume you, babe. Go ahead, get those micro bangs. Just put the pronouns in the bio, little bro. I'm hella woke now. Ya feel me? I support.
Anyway, here's a clip for reference. Yeah, she went to the.
I definitely do really care about what our country is doing, and I think it is really important also to notice like the faults in our own government. Yeah, very, very similar to my dad. Like, yeah, things are a little rough in our countries, but I think every government has its issues. There's so many protests that are going on, and I've attended, and it's, yeah, I mean, coming from a family of immigrants, like, I think immigrants deserve rights. I think it's a little silly, especially in America. I definitely.
Her dad's an immigration rights lawyer. Her dad's a little. I'm not gonna say nothing, but there's some strangeness there. But it doesn't matter. I mean, who gives a shit, you know? Yeah, she attended the UCLA protest for Palestine, but yeah, instantly people were like, "This is America versus China." Like, her dad is CIA. Her dad escaped after Tiananmen Square and came to America and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't give a shit. Okay, I don't care. Like, it's cool. She did a great performance, and she likes public transit. She attends pro-Palestine rallies. She's good in my book. I don't give a fuck who her dad is, and y'all are being weird if you think that is, like, half of chat's parents, if they had a Twitch account, would get insta banned on my stream. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, half of y'all's parents would get banned here, like, in under 35 seconds. Like, don't give me this shit. Okay, your parents are not representative of your worldview. They can be, right? But I'm thoroughly enjoying the crash out MAGA finding out that Alyssa Liu is not only woke but has joined anti-ICE protests. Also, she's not an immigrant. She was born in California, and her dad fled China after he joined the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests, where liberal young people advocated against China's policy shift towards capitalism and for freedom of speech and for the press. That was not the 1980. That was not what the 1989 protests were about. That's crazy. Yeah. The 1989 Tiananmen Square protests were where the Chinese population is saying, we want a democratic party. Why can't we have a democratic party, please? That's what it was. Anyway. But hey, it's fine. I don't care. They were protesting the birth of Taylor Swift. But yeah, it's hard for me not to notice that when you come from an immigrant background, when you're like second generation, right? in your moment of glory, Americans will decide, like the patriot Americans will decide that you are also a fully fledged American, right? But if you aren't, but if you're criticizing America, then you're like not American at all. You're like, fuck you. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you say anything about my country? Get the fuck out. So it's the never-ending state of like, is this person who is not a fully white, seventh generation American of Germanic and Irish and Italian descent, like the moment that they speak up, they're like not really an American and they need to be fucking transported out. But the moment where they're like, bringing glory to America is when they're being exceptional. When they're being exceptional, then they're actually, a real American, right? Oh yeah, we should celebrate. This is the equation that like football players are very familiar with, like athletes around the world, especially in Europe, are very well aware of, where it's like you're only considered a part of the real in-group, especially if you come from like a first generation, second generation, third generation migrant background. You're only a real individual, a real national when you bring glory. People making Nazi edits of a woke alt 20-year-old is just bizarre, but not unexpected. They're obsessed with girls with that aesthetic for some reason. Yeah, everyone is just like a horny little pervert nowadays. That's the other thing. Because I saw people talking about this 20-year-old girl, like they're saying like this is goon bait. Like they were. I personally think if you say stuff like that, you should go to prison. That's what I think. I think when you say stuff like that, you should go to jail. Okay? You're fucking disgusting and you should be in prison for that. Like what happened? There was a point in time when at least there was like a sense of collective shame, right? There's supposed to be this shame that people are supposed to feel, right? When you say stuff like that, other people are supposed to go, gross, don't say that, you're a fucking freak, like not to be like that level of woke or whatever. I don't even think this is that level of woke necessarily, but like, you don't have to just say like this person is hot and I would like to masturbate every single time you see like a female doing an impressive athletic feat, I'm not one of these like swerfs at all that say like you're porn brained or whatever, but low key, it is fucking nasty. It is nasty as hell. Like what happened to decency? I do think that we got to bring back shame a little bit. Okay, I think we got to bring back shame a little bit because it's insane. It's insane behavior. And I don't know how you just get away with behaving like that and no one checks you at all, I guess, on the internet. It's very, very gross and very weird. Like even if you feel some type of way, just keep it to yourself, Like keep it to yourself. No one has to know. Like, no one has to know that you're a nasty little pervert, okay? Why are you volunteering this information? What the fuck's wrong with you? You're out in public and you're just like, well, this impressive athlete, I will be masturbating to them in a little bit. I just wanted, ding, 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 I wanted everybody to know I'm a horny little pervert. I'm a horny, creepy pervert. I want you guys to know this is my thing. Okay, this is my thing. I love being a horny little pervert. Very strange. I don't think shame works anymore. Really, everything is so siloed these days. No matter what your weirdness is, there are others who will always back it up. Yeah, that's true. Rape tone maxing. What an incredible time to tune into the Hasanabi broadcast. Horny posting on main is when someone is doing something they spent their entire life training for is just so demeaning. If she was posting thirst traps, that's something different. Like, the thing is, like, you can, like, there are ways to make jokes where you're supposed to be the butt of the joke, where you're like, oh, I'm disgusting or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm disgusting. I'm a disgusting person. Or you're like making fun of horny little perverts like that or something like that. But you're just straight up being a creepy, you're being a creepy pervert. When you see like a woman existing and you immediately go, ooh, this is goon bait, you need to go to prison. What the fuck? Yeah, nobody ever says, wow, this person is so impressive anymore. They just say that they are horny perverts now. Horny and creepy perverts. Yeah, people are sex pest maxing. Did you see a new woke 2.0 streamer just joined the fray?
When I went to Micro Center 2 weeks.
There's a couple. There's other woke 2.0. There's a bunch of woke 2.0 content creators. You think gruesome Newsom saw your shit?
We got to get these
yes.
special interest groups, these disproportionately powerful interest groups and lobbyists out of politics so we can make real progress for the American people. I want to list off some special interest groups, and will you say yes or no if it'll take money from them?
All right, let's go.
What about big oil?
Oh, seriously? You're talking to the wrong guy. Like, literally, big oil's number one enemy is me. So not a chance in hell.
Big tobacco.
And by the way, they're the polluted heart of this climate crisis. Big oil and the lies and the mistruths they've been perpetuating the American people on the global world and the globe are disgraceful.
Big tobacco.
No damn way. Yeah.
What about APAC?
APAC never have and will never will.
Yeah, APAC really doesn't donate to governors and wouldn't donate to a presidential candidate either. They would signal to individual donors to back super PACs for and against, though. Newsom probably knows this. Yeah, it's the question here is not, will you take APAC donations? Because we know he says no to that. Okay. And also in the state of California, it's not even APAC. I think it's, I forget what it is, but I think is it JPAC? Like, there is a different, yeah, I think it is JPAC. JPAC is the Voice of California's Jewish community. And JPAC is usually the one that does, and they're not J Street either. J Street is, no, J Street is liberal Zionist. JPAC is different. Stop. Okay. I'm telling you, there are differences here. In California is JPAC. Okay. It's not J Street. J Street is the liberal Zionist one that's like supposed to be more, a more tolerant approach to Israel, whatever, like a little bit more understandable, like, oh, we hate the West Bank, stuff like that. APAC is like maximum right wing, far right. And in California, the APAC substitute is actually JPAC itself. Having said that, Newsom himself has donated to APAC, apparently, according to APAC Tracker. So I don't know what that means. I have to look into it a little bit more, like how that works. But
Like,
ultimately, APAC is just the catch-all term for any kind of pro-Israel position. And I need politicians to understand that, and I need people in here to understand that, because this has nothing to do with just like being, just like denying funding from APAC or whatever. It's more so about your actual positions on Israel, right? We can't be letting Democrats get away with this by being like, oh yeah, I would never take money from AIPAC. It's like, that's not good enough. You have to tell me what you want to do about Israel. Are you willing to offend the pro-Israeli donors by taking a fucking pro-humanitarian stance? Are you willing to say you will offer dignity and statehood to the Palestinians? And are you willing to deny all weapons transfers and maybe even sanctions on the state of, or, push for sanctions on the state of Israel for as long as the apartheid continues? Do you believe Israel is doing an apartheid? Do you believe Israel committed a genocide? These are the real questions you got to ask congresspersons about their position. Like, the AIPAC donation is basically a way to get out of that conversation. AIPAC already knows that they're becoming more and more toxic. AIPAC already knows that that you don't run ads on whether someone is pro or anti-Israel anyway. That's why AIPAC has numerous subsidiaries, and also will rarely ever mention Israel in the ad campaigns. Like with Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush, AIPAC dumped $30-40 million into their primary races. They didn't let a peep. They didn't mention Israel at all in those fucking ads, in those negative ads. They know that, like, if they were to mention, like, oh, Cori Bush loves the Palestinian population and hates Israel, people in Missouri would have been like, okay, great, I love that, I'm gonna vote for her. That attack ad would not work. So that's the real conversation that we need to be having here.
You promise to fight back against these disproportionately powerful special interest groups that are hurting the American people?
Look, I think you follow the money. Every time something goes wrong, follow the money. I support it. I continue to support. We've struggled with it, but public financing, we do this. We're constantly doing what we call clean money campaign. And we have to do more and better in that respect. But it's, the revolving door, special interest and lobbying, all the self-dealing with stocks portfolios. I think we need to have some version of term limits for Congress. I mean, we have to be a reform-oriented party. And that's something in the past we were defending the status quo.
Do you think he'll ever come on the stream? No, I don't think he'll come on the stream.
Trump took advantage of that.
Let's keep it a buck 50.
Party
I don't think he's coming on the stream anytime
needs
soon.
to lean in. And when it comes to lobbying reform and it comes to these corporate special interests, we have to be much more aggressive. California is leading, but we still, with humility, have a lot more work to do, which I take responsibility.
I mean, he is a very good speaker. He looks like a television president, right? And he knows that he can play that role really well. But there's obviously a lot of stink associated with California that is directly in his hands. So it's not like saying, I'm going to be progressive, I'm going to be super progressive, I don't care about like big money donations and whatnot. That's becoming the 2026 primaries, or not 2026 primaries, sorry. Well, 2028 and 2026's version of I support Medicare for all. I'm Kamala Harris, and I support Medicare for all. If you recall, like a lot of establishment Democrats leaned into the more progressive talking points with no real investment or interest in following that agenda at all. And they very quickly cast that aside. I mean, Joe Biden came in, and once Joe Biden said, oh, public option or bust, everybody kind of dropped that whole like Medicare for all stuff. And then Joe Biden never actually followed through on public option anyway. He was just using that as a counter mechanism that liberals the educated establishment liberals leaned into, where they were like, yeah, that's right. The public option is a far better and far more popular provision than Medicare for all. So that's just like an ongoing issue, right? Ultimately, I think asking directly about like AIPAC and things like that are ways for these guys to get away with positioning themselves as though they're anti-Israel when they're not actually anti-Israel. So there is that as well. Newsom also signed AB 715, a vague California law that weaponizes anti-Semitism to silence criticisms of Israel in schools. The law deliberately avoids defining anti-Semitism while forcing districts to adopt the IHRA definition that conflates anti-Zionism with bigotry. Palestinians aren't mentioned once. Free speech takes a backseat to Israel. This was last year. That could be something interesting that I would ask about as well if given the opportunity. I shouldn't be laughing, but Gavin Newsom has never taken money from AIPAC, but he gave money to AIPAC as 1010, no notes. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Like, he only gave $500, but it is pretty funny that he did that. That's all I'm saying. Do you think Adam Mocklib is aware of this? I mean, I think he's playing a role here, which is to be the guy who interviews these people, both from the furthest of the left all the way to the most establishment Democrats. So only, yes, for a guy like fucking Gavin Newsom, giving $500 to AIPAC is nothing. Guys, we're talking about Gavin Newsom. If you found out that a multimillionaire gave a $500 donation when most multimillionaires that give those kinds of donations to massive groups like AIPAC are dumping like, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, yeah, that's like literally fucking pocket change. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it very clearly doesn't mean anything. Like donating to AIPAC or getting money from AIPAC is like utterly irrelevant, especially if you are personally pro-Israel in your commentary. Like he literally denies that Israel committed a genocide. What the fuck are we talking about? Who gives a shit if he's saying no to AIPAC money? Hello? Like, I think someone who has ambitions of higher office in the Democratic Party in 2026 saying Israel's not committing a genocide when they want to run for president in 2028, to me, is a way higher. Okay, I'm unfollowing now, definitely. Okay, bye, I guess. It's so funny. Motherfuckers won't understand the point I'm making, and then they'll be like, I'm actually angry at you through my own confusion. And this is precisely the reason why I'm leaving the fucking community. All right. Bye, I guess. Followed 2 days ago and then is now unfollowing. 1 day follower. In and out, baby. Account made a week ago, follows for 1 day and is like, I'm done with this. Who's with me, guys? Yeah. El Mencho dead next to the town when they're hosting the World Cup event in June. What the fuck? Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Let's start. We're starting here.
State with SB 107. I got all this in the back of my head because I've been thinking about that. I've been doing debates about this. SB 107 turned it into a sanctuary state for trans people. Just such a progressive state. What do you think Democrats should be fighting for? Beyond our opposition to Donald Trump, what should we define our party as? What should America be defined as in the Democrats' eyes?
That's a good question, by the way. That's a really good question from Adam Mogler. Okay. Not Mock Lib, but Mogler in that moment. Democratic, like, this is another question that I ask. Going from 350K viewers to 25K, you kind of fell off on. Not even kind of. I completely fell off. That is a question that I ask every fucking candidate as well. I go, Zoran had 5 definable policies. What are your 5 definable policies? Go. And I think it's a great way to put people on the spot, and it trains candidates into, it basically forces candidates into that position. I don't think Gavin Newsom's, I don't think, this is after the interview that I conducted with Adam Mogler, but I don't think Gavin Newsom is going to have a very good answer for this, but let's see.
Well, look, in the spirit, many.
Like, I'll even admit, I think Kat Abel-Gazalik didn't have a very good answer on the spot for this either. I think all Democrats should have a good answer for this.
Parts, one body. California is the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. 27% of my state is foreign born. We're a majority minority state. We practice pluralism. That's a word that a lot of people.
These are just fake unfollowers that demoralize. I see a lot on my YouTube. What do you mean?
People have to look up because it's a word no one talks about anymore. This notion that we're actively engaged in celebrating.
It's breaking news, so be careful on the misinfo. You earlier read out loud an untrue tweet. Wait, what? I didn't. What, are you talking about Mexico? I haven't even covered it yet. You ever experience imposter syndrome or completely delusional? I experience it all the time. It's probably my biggest weakness, as opposed to my biggest weakness, as opposed to like a lot of the other people in the commentary sphere, is that they are able to present themselves as like super confident when they very clearly don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Whereas even in areas where I am incredibly well-read and spent a lifetime covering, spent a lifetime thinking about, spent a lifetime trying to understand and develop an opinion on, I still know that there are always going to be gaps in my knowledge, and I know that that's always in the back of my head. So I cannot fucking present things in as confident of a way as like a lot of people that are totally fucking stupid. And unfortunately, because the industry that I'm in requires you to be like super confident and people respond to that positively, even if they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. There are a lot of people that get mad at me when I reveal that, like, I'm an idiot. I say I'm an idiot all the time. People get upset at me. It's just unfortunate, but I'm just gonna keep doing that no matter what, you know.
Not just tolerating that diversity. It's the reason Silicon Valley is Silicon Valley, not just the Central Valley. So we are the most abundant state as it relates to ag,
You're not a
$62.1
guard
billion.
dog.
We dominate in quantum and artificial intelligence and robotics and space, new technologies, R&D. We're the third largest capital in the world in R&D, research and development. And we're pushing out the boundaries of discovery and entrepreneurialism because of those values that are part of our DNA. And I think those are uniquely American values. I mean, you talk about, American values being defined broadly, both.
God damn, bro. What are 5 policies that you would define your potential candidacy as? What are 5 policies that you would potentially define your potential candidacy around? Democrats are not defined by policies that are easy to understand, that are digestible, that are palatable, that actually improve the lives of everyday Americans. What are the 5 policies that you would push for? He's like, oh, America is a nation of prosperity, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is exactly the reason why this shit sucks. Look, this isn't even me being unnecessarily rough on Gavin Newsom, is what like many liberal establishment Democrats think I am being. My criticism here is Democrats come across as offering empty platitudes, like talking about the vibes of America, what America means. It's just like, you just have to literally say exactly what you want to do for people. Okay? Unfortunately, for people who are very invested in these races this early on, they love this shit. So they reward it over and over again because they're like, no, you don't understand. This is actually fucking brilliant. And it's like, take yourself out of the equation for once, please. Okay? You are not the average voter, dumbass. You are not the average voter. The average voter hears this and goes, ugh, empty suit.
Parties. Ronald Reagan himself, his last speech, talked about Lady Liberty's torch, and he talked about the life force, his words, life force of newcomers to the United States of America. And so there's this ability to get the first round draft choices around the rest of the world, the best and the brightest, pushing out the boundaries of discovery, these conveyor belts for talent, research and innovation, patents, institutions of higher learning, constantly doing more and better as it relates to lowering costs across the spectrum by being more innovative and entrepreneurial. AI is going to define our future. Profound ways. I think that 2028 election is going to be an AI election every way, shape, or form. 2026 will be. But look, we have to paint a picture of a journey where everyone feels included and we can go on the journey together. It's the vernacular of the 60s.
How can I find out if my friend secretly hate watches you? He's really into Hassan Snark and loves to tell me how stupid I am for listening to you. He thinks about you all day long. I don't know. I mean, who cares if they're into that sort of stuff? Like, why are you invested in it? You need to have opinions about the world beyond me, or even worse, one of my haters. Okay? Like,
so we can solve for ignorance and poverty and disease, and this notion that we're all better off and we're all better off. And we have to be repairers at the same time of this breach. And we've got to sort of knit back that fabric of what defines the best of America that Trump daily is trying to vandalize. That's not the agenda. I'm not here promoting that agenda, but I think inherent in what I said are the values that I think define the best of the Democratic Party, and racial justice, social justice, economic justice, but also pushing out the boundaries of discovery and opportunity.
That makes me very proud. Like, an America that is based on innovation, but also diversity, being a melting pot that pushes forward technology. We want to remove a lot of these. My team and I have been talking about how we got to get these special interest groups, these disproportionately powerful interest groups and lobbyists out of politics so we can make real progress for the American people. I want to list off some special interest groups, and will you say yes or no if you're
I think I think when liberals hear Gavin Newsom say that stuff, especially liberals that are disinvested this early on in elections, they love it. Okay? We're talking about We're talking about high propensity voters. We're talking about voters that are like locked in on CNN, locked in on MSNBC, read the New York Times. They love this shit. Okay? You get turned into mincemeat when you face off with someone like Donald Trump, though, or any kind of right-wing sloppulist. The point you were trying to make, Mockler, which misses the point that they were making the choice to let 70,000 die. Very frustrating to watch. I said, I think some of you want a socialist debate pedophile. I'm not going to disagree with harm reduction as an isolated theory. It's just the truth. It's also a weapon the party wields to remain controlled opposition party. It's many of you clearly don't watch me if you think I don't believe that. So much of my convo was basically me repeating what I've said a million times on stream and expanding beyond the clip, chimp. I'm not attacking you. I just found the constant circling back by this guy to so you agree getting shot in the leg is better than getting shot in the head. Obscured the point that Democrats shouldn't be shooting anyone at all. Every time he made a point that Dems are aligned with the Republicans on private health insurance, he would say, well, would you agree 70K deaths is better than 100K, which misses the point that they're making, the choice to let 70K die. Yeah, I mean, I brought that up, but, you know, it's just at a certain point, you just got to move on. Newsom is one of the few candidates that can out-debate Trump. Dude, a lot of you have to be young. You have to be young if you think that. Because Hillary Clinton literally had the gusto. She had the fucking stage presence. Now, people will get mad at me for saying this, but Hillary Clinton could out-debate Donald Trump in the same exact ways that Gavin Newsom would. Okay? And she did. And she still got her shit pushed in. Because you'll think about all the worst moments like, oh, I'm chilling in Cedar Rapids or hot sauce in my bag or all those other like all of those other like highly salient points where she looked like a robot. But on the debate stage, she fucking outperformed Donald Trump over and over again. Kamala Harris actually did a pretty decent job on the debate stage as well against Donald Trump. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. New poll, the Dem Party is finished. The Democratic Party, Lowkirk, needs to dissolve as an organization. Washington Post, ABC News, Ipsos poll. Who do you trust to do a better job at handling the country's main problems? Trump, 33%. Democrats in Congress, 31%. Neither, 31%. Oh, my God. Reducing the cost of living. Trump, 32%. Democrats in Congress, 31%. Neither, 33%. Immigration. Trump, 38%. Democrats in Congress, 34%. Neither, 24%. I'm losing my mind. Every day, day after day after day, these polls keep vindicating me over and over again. Democrats are not definable by characteristics. Democrats are not definable by policies. They look weak. They look feckless. This kind of like constant push to the center is making them look like they're losers, and everyone can fucking see it. Donald Trump is the least popular president of all time, basically. Like he is hitting the lowest of his lowest approval ratings, and the Democrats are still less popular. Yeah, this is kind of what I expected. Trump's decline is not moving to the Democrats, is moving to nihilism and moving away from the process. Exactly. This is fucking insanely frustrating. And then people will turn around and be like, Hassan, you're responsible for this. Okay, dude. It's just so bad. It's so fucking bad. The Democrats aren't worried enough about the perception that they're either ineffective cowards or willing collaborators with the Trump administration is true. Oh my fucking God, Hassan, the Democratic Party is functioning as intended. Stop pretending there is something broken in the Democratic Party. No. This is even as a two sides of the same fucking liberal coin. If Democrats want to preserve liberal democracy, they need to do better than this. This is just straight up like, this is straightforward concessions to fascism. Okay? A lot of people ask me like, oh, when is the time? When is the time? When is the time? You will know when the time comes, okay? You will know when the time comes. I think from where I'm standing, if they actually destroy the court system completely, if they like took out the First Amendment, if they destroy the courts, I think that would be the time. Because right now, theoretical democracy is on shaky ground, okay? And as a student of history, I look at different instances, especially as of late. I've been reading more about Cuba as well, and I think that I think that the appropriate time is the appropriate time. When it comes, you will know. Like right now, the courts still have the capacity to like every now and then stop the administration. But once they tackle due process, or once they go after due process, it will be, that's when you'll know. You'll know. And we're moving in that direction. So I don't think that Democrats are going to stop that from happening. I mean, this is the results. These are the results. CBS reports that the U.S. played a role in the operation that killed cartel figure El Mencho. I mean, we'll see. That's why I said, like, America, whenever stuff like this happens, America always has a hand. Let's be real. I don't understand what polling they're looking at and going, this is wrong. Dude, I don't think these guys look at the polling at all or care about the polling at all. That's what I'm trying to say. They operate on a totally separate, they operate on totally separate interests than what you would assume they would operate on. Okay? Anyway, I mean, after the Gaza genocide, that should have been a pretty obvious indication to those who pay attention to politics that, like, Democrats don't really give a shit about public approval and disapproval. They don't care about the polling because they use polling to only figure out how to sell the things they want. They don't want it. They don't run on it. Yeah, that's it. Did you see this? Okay. Weirdly, like a 9/11 mention that isn't an own on America for some reason.
Says a man in his early 20s carrying what appeared to be a shotgun and a fuel can entered a restricted area around Trump's Palm Beach, Florida home early this morning before he was shot and killed by authorities. I want to bring in...
Yeah, we got another Trump attempter, and then after this we'll go to Mexico.
CNN's Julia Benbrook. She's at the White House. So, Julia, how is the president's team responding to this?
Yeah, the most important thing to note here is that President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump, they were here at the White House at the time of this incident, but they travel often to their Mar-a-Lago estate. In fact, the president has been there almost every weekend in recent weeks. During a press briefing that took place earlier today, the Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, standing with representatives from the FBI and Secret Service, he detailed what they know now. He said that a man around 1:30 in the morning made it into the perimeter at Mar-a-Lago, and that a deputy and 2 Secret Service agents on the detail went to investigate. Take a listen.
They confronted a white male that was carrying a gas can and a shotgun. He was ordered to drop those 2 pieces of equipment that he had with him, at which time he put down the gas can, raised the shotgun to a shooting position. At that point in time, the deputy and the 2 Secret Service agents fired their weapons and neutralized the threat. He is deceased at the scene.
Authorities have said that this man was in his early 20s and from North Carolina. He was reported missing recently by a family member. Now, the sheriff did say that his deputies are always wearing body cameras, and so we could see some of that footage in the future there. But the FBI is the lead agency on this. They will be responsible for handling any questions.
Oh, the FBI's on it? Great. We're not getting no answers on this, okay? Oh, man, they got the best guys on the job, buddy. Okay,
He's
great.
going
I trust them.
forward and-
Famously trustworthy FBI, especially as of late.
We did hear from FBI Director Kash Patel a little while ago. He posted on social media.
Oh, you mean when he was partying with the hockey team? Because he's in Italy right now. He's not on it at all. We know he's not on it. That motherfucker is in Italy. So extra cooked.
He said, quote, the FBI is dedicating all necessary resources in the investigation of this morning's incident at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago, where an armed individual was shot and...
Oh, he posted this from the locker room. Forgets seeing his girlfriend sing at a wrestling match. Now FBI Director Kash Patel took the FBI to the party in Italy with the Olympic team. Let's go! Dude, clown ass. Dude, can you imagine? Dude, this kind of stuff, this kind of optics related shit is literally catnip for Republicans. Like, can you imagine a world where like the Democratic administration's appointed FBI director, who is like very clearly not supposed to be there, but only was appointed because of their like loyalist position, and they're out fucking partying. They're out partying when the FBI's approvals have diminished to historic levels because of their transparent incompetence. And there's a separate saga around how much this motherfucker is using the FBI and government resources to fly his ass around, fly his girlfriend around, and he just flies in the middle of this situation. He fucking flew to Italy to watch the fucking American hockey team. Get out of here, dude. I know there isn't much to say about like, oh, imagine a Democrat doing this, because like, let's be real, this is just the world we live in where Republicans do whatever the fuck they want. But oh my God, dude, he took the fucking PJ out to Italy. See you in Valhalla, brother? Yeah.
Killed after unlawfully entering the perimeter. We will continue working closely with Secret Service as well as state and federal partners.
FBI flying bitches to Italy.
And will provide updates as we are able. They are currently processing the scene and analyzing any evidence. They've also
Say you're Trump. Do you take no pause at the fact that multiple random 20-year-olds have tried to kill you? What's going on? All these white 20-year-olds, they're all woke.
also asked people in the area that if they have any doorbell camera footage that does seem suspicious, could be related to this, that they should contact authorities.
All right. Thank you, Julia. Still a lot of questions at this point. I want to bring in CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller. You've been talking to your sources here. What does this investigation look like at this point?
Well, what they're trying to do, Omar, is to backtrack through the last 24 hours or more since this individual was reported missing. He's a 22-year-old man from the area of Cameron, North Carolina, and it appears he drove there to Mar-a-Lago. One of the things that was found in the vehicle, his Volkswagen SUV, was the box for the shotgun. So investigators believe that he left his North Carolina home, stopped along the way perhaps, and purchased that shotgun.
Yeah. Nothing to learn here about the ease of access for weapons, by the way. That's not a thing. Like, you can just casually stroll to a shop, purchase a goddamn weapon, and then try to assassinate the American president.
And the gasoline, and then drove to Mar-a-Lago. One of the questions...
Ryan Ruth was in his early 20s. I mean, we're not talking about Ryan Ruth. He's just one of the guys, right? Ryan Ruth is unique for many different reasons. He's a unique advocate.
Is how did he get into that perimeter? It appears that as an employee was leaving and opened the gate to walk out, he caught the gate and walked in. He made it about 20 to 30 yards before he was confronted in that perimeter by two Secret Service agents and a deputy Palm Beach County sheriff. And as the sheriff said, according to their report, and the deputy does have body camera, as he was ordered to put down the shotgun and the gas can, he put down the gas can, raised the shotgun into a firing position, and all three, both agents and the deputy, fired, killing him.
Do we know if the shotgun was loaded? I mean, obviously pointing a weapon at law enforcement, it prompts the reaction that they had here. But just on the back end of this, do we know if that shotgun was...
What do you think about Ramsey Robinson running for governor? I think if you spam it a couple more times, I will inevitably talk about California Governor Ramsey Robinson running for California governor. I think you should spam it a little bit more, chatter.
Actually loaded?
You know, it's a good question, Omar, because as you point out, there's no way that those law enforcement officers would have known by seeing the shotgun whether it was loaded when it was pointed at them. But the question goes directly to what was his intent of going into that perimeter? Did he know that President Trump wasn't there and was at the White House? Was his specific intent suicide by cop, which we've seen in a number of these incidences where people cause the police because of their own depression, mental health issues, whatever it is, to take their lives. Whether or not that shotgun is loaded will give us a better indicator of that when we find that information out from the FBI. But right now, I don't know the answer to that, but it's a good question.
Yeah, a lot of questions still in this early stages of the investigation. John Miller, appreciate the time as always.
Was this person?
All right, I'm fucking bored of this story already. Like, I know this is a big story or whatever, but it's increasingly becoming a fucking dog bites man rather than a man bites dog situation. If you know what I mean, it's like, yeah, Donald Trump, I think, is just gonna constantly be in a state of panic around like a bunch of white guys with access to an arsenal of weapons. It's just how it is. I mean, it's just America. You know, what am I supposed to say? You know, do fucking gun control. I don't know. Do gun control. It's kind of the new normal. You know, am I wrong? What is happening? Do I have bots in my chat? This is another guy. Another guy. Are there bots in the chat just like spamming this shit? Yes, you are wrong, but it's okay. Stinkin' Joe Varmint says, yes, you are wrong. Anyway, brother, your chat is a moving billboard. Of course, you have bots. You have humans that can be manipulated. That's true. All right. Oh, yet another fork found in the kitchen moment. Yeah, Donald Trump attempted assassination, fork found in the kitchen. Moms for Liberty 2023 Legislator of the Year, Republican ex-rep RJ May spend over 17 years in prison for sending child sex abuse videos. Oh my God. Pedocon is also very much alive and well. Wow. Shocking. Shocked. Shocked, I tell you. Another incredibly shocking moment. Pedocon theory is a theory like gravity. Yeah, shocked. I tell you. Soundboard level shocked. Pedocon is conservatives or pedophiles. Like, there are elite pedophiles that are bipartisan, but more often than not, it happens to be conservatives. Nice. Now, how about those Epstein co-conspirators? No. What, you think I don't fucking do enough coverage on the Epstein co-conspirators? You should really disavow dark woke since it's predictably become a shield for bigotry. What? That's your fucking primary concern right now? Really? This is what are you talking about, man? Lock in, please. Please lock in. I saw a tweet about how conservatives will always end up being pedophiles because they eventually run out of people and things to control. Yeah, I like that. That's a good take. Don't get mad. It's been discussed. I mean, there are going to be people who take it too far. You just got to take it in stride and you got to deal with it when it comes up. Okay. Why don't you have the Alex Jones clip on soundboard? Yes, I do. Liberal. I do. Why is ever Paul just used to spoil at really inappropriate times? Is that all is used for? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that has to do with anything right now. And no, I'm not going to put the Alex Jones Jew spam on the fucking clipboard and on the soundboard. Come on, guys. Let's just hear what Fox News has to say about this very common thing that is apparently happening all the fucking time, and there's no way to stop it.
Prior to the incident?
Not right now. Yeah.
At the front gate over there?
Yep. Okay. They're the north side.
North side.
Were they inside of the gate or no?
He was just inside the inner perimeter, yes.
We're learning new details about the man shot and killed at Mar-a-Lago overnight. Now we're going to turn to criminal defense attorney and Fox News contributor Donna Rotuno. Donna, a 21-year-old missing person doesn't necessarily sound like a mastermind assassin, but what is your read on this?
Well, remember, Peter, first, thank you for having me. Remember, Luigi Mangione was also a missing person for a period of time. His family called him in as missing. They didn't know where he was for approximately, I think, it was about 6 weeks before the shooting. So although it wouldn't seem like the normal profile.
I mean, clearly he wasn't a criminal mastermind because he went to fucking Mar-a-Lago when I'm pretty sure Trump wasn't even at Mar-a-Lago. So, yeah, these guys are not very good. It reminds me of the same predicament that took place in the fake Trump assassination attempt where he got fake shot in his ear, which I don't believe was real at all. And I have the commemorative Zintin to prove it. This moment with Thomas Crooks, the fake assassination attempt, you know? Because they were like, hey, guys, yeah, this guy is just like a real apolitical centrist, I think. And as a real apolitical centrist, he was Googling who will be, which presidential candidate will be in my neighborhood. Oh, God, have you gone full blue and on? Yes. I'm entertaining blue and on for the fake assassination attempt.
Can't count anyone out, especially given circumstances. And sometimes people who are either having mentally ill,
Fake shot. Dude took a bullet to the ear to fuck. So if you get fake attempted, should we do a Zintin too? Oh, dude, I'll farm it just as much as Trump farms it if I get fake assassination attempted.
breakdowns or issues, move away, go away from their families. They are missing at some time and some points. So, I think we can't say that it's rare given the fact that we just saw an awful shooting in New York about a year ago. So we'll see what happens with this situation.
And limited details so far. They are coming in bit by bit. According to the sheriff, this man drove into a gate that was open while a vehicle was exiting. He had a gas can and a shotgun. He dropped the gas cans, then pointed the shotgun at officers. That is when they engaged. Does it sound like somebody with a plan maybe to shoot as many people as he could, try to get to the president, and then set the place on fire, set himself on fire? What do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously, anytime you enter a location with a gun and gas, the thought that you want to use both is probably reasonable. I would think that the thought was, I'm going to either use the weapon on myself or others and then myself, and or set something on fire, right? What is the purpose of gas if you don't want to set something on fire? So either to try to get rid of evidence, try to get rid of humans. There was definitely nefarious intent for sure.
Mar-a-Lago is protected the way, not that differently from the White House, but there are two public roads right there. Does this person who has been missing, according to his family, for a couple of days in North Carolina?
I mean, even using a shotgun is not the best weapon if you want to kill as many people as possible. I mean, the AR-15 is clearly the weapon of choice. If you're trying to shoot up a place or kill as many people as possible, cause a ruckus, I think this dude is just like insane. You know? Like, I don't think that there was we'll find out soon enough. Whatever the motives were, we'll get more information on the background. But rolling up to fucking Mar-a-Lago with a gas canister and a shotgun kind of feels like he just wanted to do suicide by cop, go out in a blaze of glory.
Does this fit the bill of somebody who had to really case the place or who just drove until he saw an opening?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think obviously he waited for an opening because otherwise he wasn't getting in. I can't imagine that it was that random. I'm sure we'll learn from security cameras as time goes on where the car came from, where he came from. I have friends who live in Palm Beach that are sending me photos of a vehicle now on Ocean Drive that's being surrounded by officers kind of as we speak. So I don't know if that car is somehow connected to him. Did he get out of a car, get in another car? We will find out. But, clearly the odds of him just driving by and entering at the same time a car.
He's from an area with high crack usage rate. I'm a local, very high possibility he's just a crackhead from North Carolina. Crackheads are quite industrious, it seems.
Car was coming in or out, I think seems fairly rare. I would think that he was waiting and that there definitely was some sort of a plan, which I'm sure we will hear about from either his cell phone engagement, his social media conversation, anything that he put out on X or Instagram. And so Facebook, we'll learn something about who he is and what his intentions were, or somebody from his family will come out and tell us that there has been mental health issues or that he was some type of a resistance, person that was fighting back in some way.
And so far, so much of the focus has been on this person because he is dead. They found his car. They found an empty shotgun box in his car. Yet, the authorities still want doorbell footage from folks that live near Mar-a-Lago. Does that tell you that there is a concern maybe he didn't act alone?
Yeah, I would definitely say that, especially given the fact that I am seeing photos of this car surrounded by 2 FBI agents on Ocean Drive. So my guess would be yes, that is the case. And the fact that if they are thinking that he was lying in wait or staking the place out in any way, then of course, doorbell camera footage or security camera footage. I mean, Peter, you've been there multiple times. You know what the homes look like around there. I mean, I can't imagine a Ring doorbell is going to give us a lot, but there's probably very, very technically advanced security cameras on most of the properties surrounding that area. So,
yeah, we'll see. I mean, the most incompetent FBI of all time is on it. I'm sure they'll come out and be like, well, the bullet casings, he wrote he is Antifa on the bullet casings very clearly. Another case of trans Antifa violence. And then everyone will be like, we don't trust you at all. This administration has never shown a fraction of the competence necessary for us to feel like you're doing your due diligence. And we'll move on to the next thing when Donald Trump decides to fucking bomb Iran. That's why I'm saying it's hard for me to sit here and be like, oh, I wonder, let's ponder on the motives of this suspect.
my guess is we will learn something from someone's cameras from one of those properties close to Mar-a-Lago. And again, like you said, that's a major, those are two streets. Mar-a-Lago's on two sort of main streets there. I'm sure they have cameras surrounding not only Mar-a-Lago, but the thoroughfares there as well.
And we have a new statement here from Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. She says she has been speaking with President Trump and coordinating with our federal partners throughout the morning regarding the intrusion and shooting at Mar-a-Lago.
Bro, even their heart's not in it. Like, even the Fox News commentary on it is like, probably maybe liberal resistance. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, this has become such a fucking common occurrence that they're just like, yeah, another day, I guess. Like, it's crazy. They can't even do this is clearly Antifa shit that they normally would.
Grateful that POTUS and our law enforcement agents are safe. Donna, what motivates someone to do this?
I mean, either
Dow was under 50,000, Peter. It's the Dow.
Pure derangement or unbelievable, mental illness that has been untreated. And, we won't know. That's the problem. Unless we have manifestos, unless we have commentary on social media, I'm sure they're going to see what his digital footprint has been, not only on his own accounts, but maybe what he was posting on others. Maybe people will come out like we saw in Tyler Robinson, where the accounts where everybody was talking, these gamers, they were chatting on that Discord, I think is the name of that platform. So I'm sure we're going to learn a lot more about him in the coming days. This is a sad situation. Obviously, we never want to have a loss of life, but at the same time, we cannot have these properties under attack, whether the president is there or not.
Donna, thank you so much for joining us. And
of course,
we will be back with some more breaking news after this.
Look, maybe he was just bored. I could see that. They really have not a single viewer under the age of 60.
I want to bring in Rachel now as our senior.
Maybe it's because of Trump's approval ratings, because of the Dow. Because the Dow's under 50,000.
Your political
so
course.
people are reminded that Trump is a pedophile protector.
Bonnet, Rachel, because we have the new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll, but it shows some real challenges for President Trump.
Yeah, and of course, all of this coming ahead of Tuesday's State of the Union address. Our new poll out today shows the president's approval rating stands at just 39%. That means 60% of Americans disapprove of the president's job currently in office right now. His approval ratings have not been this low since after the January 6th Capitol riot. And fueling all of this, of course, is how Americans are feeling on key issues. So when asked if Americans approve or disapprove of the way the president is handling certain topics, only 41% approving of his handling of the economy, a key issue that he ran on. And about 40% of Americans say they support the president on immigration, but the majority.
That's still too high? Yes. I think a part of the reason why that's still too fucking high is because there's not really an alternative out there that's compelling for a lot of people who won't leave the fucking cult. It's because Democrats are not doing a good enough job saying, like, this is why everything still sucks. Like, these guys presented a different vision for how your life was going to change for the better, and they haven't fucking fulfilled that promise at all. There's a really interesting dynamic in this survey. Immigration is the one key place where opinions on the issues have moved to the left over the past year, but the GOP still wins on it. Meanwhile, opinions on trans issues are as right-wing as ever, but D's win massively on the issue. Democrats have not had a reliable, consistent counter narrative on immigration. They just haven't. They're still operating on like pre-election cycle fears of the 66% of Americans wanted mass deportations. They're still like, oh, Joe Biden really fucked up on immigration. I mean, even Bernie Sanders himself has had a shitty message on this, like a center-right message on this. They don't understand that, like, most people are easily moved on this issue when you talk to them in simple terms. These guys, this is a nation of immigrants. These guys are your fucking neighbors. What we're doing is cruel. And what we must do is, what is this? Irrelevant, but you didn't fall off, King. A lot of your viewers are also still on YouTube. Just finished watching the hazing short from yesterday. And a dumper comment that you fell off from 350K viewers. Also, this is wonderful shit. Thank you, chatter. I don't think I fell off. I'm I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. The 350K was botted into oblivion. Anyway, but that's a real issue, right? Like, they don't have a consistent, clear, coherent agenda on the issue of immigration. Some of the establishment Democrats run around and still say stuff like, no, we have to be more reasonable about immigration. We have to reform ICE. We have to do this. We have to do that. This is the problem. Democrats, even when they're winning on an issue, are still running scared. They're still running scared, and therefore, they can't come up with a comprehensive agenda where it's like, we have to make sure that people understand that the real problem with immigration is the processing, okay, is the paperwork. We're not expeditiously offering paperwork to these people that have been here for 10 plus years. It's completely ridiculous. And that is the major problem. And that's why Kamala Harris lost. Harris hit Trump from the right on immigration and suggested he was a phony who wasn't serious about it. Exactly. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Miami-Dade small business owner who voted for Trump feels pain and partners ICE detention. Stacey K says you should have listened to the libs. Yeah, listen to the libs who were like, we're going to build the border wall, actually. We're going to be the serious immigration party.
Does not deserve this. She's the sweetest person, and she prayed for you.
A desperate plea to President Trump from a South Florida man fearing his life partner could be deported to Cuba at any moment. He reached out to our Christian De La Rosa to share his story and his remorse.
It's been 8 months. I didn't know a man could cry this much. I did not think that this would happen.
Wayne DeMario has been working overtime at a Southwest Miami-Dade guitar shop, trying to distract himself from his pain and regret.
I hate to see her going through this. She's my best friend.
His life partner.
Guys, stop saying fuck around and find out. Jesus Christ, man. Like, I know it's like haha funny, but like, this is still this is still a migrant who's being fucking ripped away from their family, okay? Please focus on the pain and focus on the wrongdoing and don't lean into like partisan shit slinging for once, please. I know it's great to just be like, fuck you, but how is this any different than just being like, I mean, there are some people that you can do this for, like the one guy who literally wrote the ay, por Dios, yo voy a votar por Donald Trump, like the Cuban, the Cuban migrant that's getting deported. Like, at that point, it's like you were begging for it, right? But like, we must not forget that the ultimate wrongdoing here is not to you, a Democratic Party voter who now feels, that now feels vindicated. The ultimate wrongdoing here is still happening to the migrants that are being ripped apart.
Of nearly 20 years, Yamile Alcantú, originally from Cuba, ICE detained her back in June.
8 months that she's been taken. I call it kidnapped because it basically is.
He says it happened during what they thought was just another immigration check-in.
They grabbed her, put her in shackles and chains.
She'd been checking in annually, as so many do, hoping to fix her status. She lost her legal residency and got a deportation order back in 2008 after a traffic stop.
They go through her purse, and then they dump the purse out, and 3 Xanax pills fall out.
But in those years, he says, they didn't think much of it.
Cuban's not going to get deported, so don't worry about it.
Today, DHS has her listed among the worst of the worst, a criminal arrested for dangerous drugs in possession. Wayne feels it's a slap in the face.
I didn't vote for this, but I definitely voted Republican.
It's hard. It's just don't do it. Don't do it. Do not.
He says both were staunch supporters of President Trump.
When you said I didn't vote for this, what did you think you had voted for?
I really thought this was just going to be something organized, but it's obviously not. They just blanket everybody.
I'm just sneezing. I have a crazy sneeze, dude. It's crazy. I don't know how that happened. I had to clear my throat real quick away from the camera. I'm not laughing. Stop saying I'm stubbing my toe over and over again.
Alcantú calling from her detention facility in Louisiana. She says in her 8 months detained, she has not seen an immigration judge. She stresses she's not a criminal and her biggest fear, being deported, especially to Cuba.
There are going to be people out there who hear your story, hear other stories like this, and say, well, you voted for this.
Yeah, I've heard that from people.
What do you tell those people?
I'm sorry. I didn't know that this was going to happen. This is about human beings.
Dude, so much of the Republican agenda is like, wait a minute. I didn't think the leopards would eat my face. I'm sorry. I had no idea. What?
It's not about left or right. It's about right and wrong.
Alcantú's record does have other violations on it, misdemeanors like petty theft dating back to the early 2000s. Wayne DeMario says he has spent his entire life savings on legal fees trying to get her back home. His friends have a fundraiser underway if you'd like to get involved. The link is under this story on our website, local10.com. Reporting in Miramar, I'm Christian De La Rosa, Local 10 News.
Heartbreak.
Yeah, God, it's so fucking hard to be consistent in a moment like this. Yes, the principled approach here is to say, look, you fucked up and you caused your partner's demise. You advocated for it. You're finding out you fucked around, but ultimately it's still fucked up to deport someone, especially for petty crimes like this. And hopefully you understand the full scope of the situation now and become an advocate against Donald Trump. And hopefully you can be a community organizer in your neighborhood, probably also full of, Trump, pro-Trump individuals with migrant friends and family members. And, you'll realize that a more tolerant approach to immigration is the appropriate one. You can be consistent. You have to adapt the New England mentality. We'll help you, but we're going to laugh at your fuck up the whole time. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Obviously, I feel bad for the individuals who are victimized by American fascism, but no, I don't. But I don't think we should be expected to offer sympathy to Nazi sympathizers. I mean, it's just like you should have listened to the libs. Stacey K says, except Kamala Harris's message was, we're going to do this as well. We're just going to do Kamala Harris's message literally was, we won't deport that guy's wife. Okay, we'll deport everybody else, but probably not that guy's wife. And Trump's message was, we'll deport that guy's wife as well. And that dumbass went with, okay, obviously, if one party is saying we're not going to deport all the criminal migrants and the other guy is saying we're going to deport all the criminal migrants, I'm going with the party that's deporting all criminal migrants. The lesson here should be to take a totally different approach to this issue. and to try to lead the conversation rather than run with a defensive posture on this in this conversation. You know, there are accounts like this from late 1930s Germany. No, of course. The reality is accepting how stupid many people are. People are profoundly more stupid than a lot of chatters realize, is why getting a real candidate with a real vision through the primary is so important. I agree. There are we need to stop validating the dumb opinions of dumb people. There's a huge problem in this country. Yeah, but it is just the case. Just as I tell my passionate Marxist, Leninist, vanguardist, and leftcom supporters in here that you have to work with the masses if you want to build a mass movement, and you have to work with what they self-identify as, not as what you expect them to be in a perfect world. The same goes for even the Democratic Party and how they how they run in the elections and how they win in the elections. If the average person is a fucking moron, you just got to bludgeon them in the fucking head with what you're about over and over again. Republicans do that. They do that very effectively. It's also obviously easier to do that when so much of the American vision for what politics is supposed to be, what good governance is supposed to look like is completely destroyed in the post-Reagan neoliberal shithole that we live in, right? Where starving the beast is still the average Democrat's position as well. It's going to take a lot to build confidence in good governance, okay? But there is an opportunity to do so, and the Democrats are just not even taking it. There is a seismic shift happening in the country right now. If you can't take advantage of this moment by presenting an alternative vision that is both pragmatic, easy to understand, and also revolves around the humanity of these people that are being ripped away from their fucking families, well, you know, you don't deserve to win, I guess. You're just moving us closer and closer to a full-tilt fascist autocracy. No matter how you disagree with someone, empathy for them leads to a better understanding of how you communicate with them. I know, I agree. My average view is off all Yankees. You don't need all the average, though. Historically, only 3% of the population has been enough for a revolution. Okay. Can't overstate how many Dem primary ads are about ICE now. This summer, a 2025 resolution to commend ICE after shooting at a detention center bundled with condemnation of anti-Semitism got 75 House Dem votes. Could cost some of their seats in the primaries. Last year, Democrats were being advised by all the very smart people to either back down from fighting Trump on immigration or even to vote in favor of Trump's immigration agenda to distinguish themselves from the progressive left. Now they're running away from those votes. If only there was a guy out there who was telling Democrats not to do that. There was. It's me. I was the guy. And now all of those same fucking shitlibs on the timeline that were celebrating this kind of like visionary change towards pivoting to the moderate center are yelling at me, the guy who was saying, don't do this. Okay? That's it. It's fucking stupid. You're stupid. I don't want Republicans to win. I believe the Republican Party, especially now under the leadership of Donald Trump, is a fascist, post-liberal party. Okay? I don't want him to win at all. And I'll fight tooth and nail. But the reality of the matter is the Democrats are not on board with it. There's something extraordinary about Trump where his voters assign their own values and policies to him. They don't take his stated positions seriously, tariffs, mass deportations, etc., and just think he actually secretly agrees with them. It's a really unique and powerful trait for a politician. What you're describing is a cult. And he got that level of fealty from his base by being an anti-establishment candidate. There is a lesson to be learned from that, okay? He is a cult of personality. But if you hyper-focus on the cult side of the cult of personality and think that you can get away with a candidate on the Democratic Party side that has a cult of personality with a neoliberal vision, you will never be able to win an election because establishment Democrats, third-way neoliberals, people who try to put on a new shine on the same old dog shit that they've run with over and over again, fail to comprehend what drives people to Donald Trump. Feel me? It's crazy that you can tell people that the job of a liberal is to pacify and they will take that to mean that you want the conservatives to win. Yeah. How influential is your voice in the Democratic Party? As influential as this voice. Okay, that's how influential my voice is. Like that. My voice is simply channeling the resentment, the frustration, the apathy that the average American feels. So it's influential amongst the masses, even if the masses are oblivious to who I am or unaware of who I am. My voice is channeling the commonly held frustrations. So in that regard, it should be more influential. But as far as the party goes, of course it's not influential at all amongst the party. I mean, if you ask the establishment defenders on the timeline, I'm the most significant setback against the Democrats, right? They seem to think I'm quite influential. But the reality of the matter is, as far as the frustrations I'm channeling, there's a reason why I end up pushing for positions that the Democrats inevitably have to lean into, and that's because I recognize how cruel the Republican agenda is going to be when it's actualized. Okay. Whether it be their position on Gaza, whether it be their position on immigration, if they were to listen to, people like myself, and when I say myself, I'm not even talking about myself necessarily. Okay. I'm talking about people who share the same frustrations. I'm simply one person. Okay. I don't have the capability to change people's minds. I'm not like hypnotizing the youth in the way that Allah has.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
Americans saying that his deportation campaign has gone too far.
60% disapproval rating, but Rachel, this doesn't necessarily mean good news for Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Democrats are looking at this, they're hoping here for maybe some good news, not so much. In fact, our poll shows that the majority of Americans don't trust Democrats either on these key issues. So what is clear, this is a deeply divided America.
Yes, and we will see what happens on Tuesday. Thanks, Rachel.
All right, Rachel, thank you.
In your new book, Young Man in a Hurry, you're really explicit in trying to confront the perception that you are, and I'm quoting here, a privileged prince. Because your grandfather and your father, they had a lot of activity in politics and business in San Francisco. They were especially close to the Getty family, as are you. You describe in detail the split personality, that's what you call it, of your childhood, because your parents divorced when you were young and you had that privileged existence with your dad, and then you went back home with your mom, who had to work 3 jobs to keep things afloat.
Yeah, 19 when she was pregnant with me. She had 2 kids. A father, which I discovered only through the process of researching his life and writing this book, had a breakdown. Ran for county supervisor in San Francisco, lost. Ran for state senate, lost both races, was broke. And said he had a breakdown that required him just to leave, and he just took off to Lake Tahoe, Truckee area, and that was it. We saw him episodically when we were growing up. He was there every 3 or 4 weekends, maybe a week or so every summer, and came back into our lives much later. But it was my mom, hard work, grit, never complained, explained, came from no wealth, single, bedroom, and she just made ends meet, made things work, and gave me the grit and gave me a work ethic that's frankly allowed me to survive in politics this many years.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that grit. You talk about your mom giving you that grit and your dad teaching you other things like the love of the outdoors and poetry. But it really is striking to me how distant you describe, and you're really detailed and pretty raw about how distant you felt from both of your parents, and especially your mom. You call her.
Oh, God. I mean, why does it feel inauthentic? Because it's Gavin Newsom. He's the most manicured candidate out there. He literally looks the part. He looks like he would be president in a fucking straight to DVD release movie. Like, he moves in that way. Remember in 2020 when people said they were going to swap out Biden with Cuomo? Oh my God. Just wait, it gets worse. Oh, God. I don't want to watch pornography, Hassan. Okay, well, you're going to watch it.
Penetrable to you.
Yeah, look, I mean, the title has meaning, young man in a hurry. I've been in a hurry. I've been always trying to chase something. I put a mask on, and my face was growing into it. I was becoming, I wasn't becoming myself. It was the biggest fear my mom had of me getting into politics. She never wanted me to go into politics, which I never understood until I learned in the process of writing this. That was the reason for their divorce. She never explained that. They never talked about that. When I grew up, I lost my mom almost 20 years ago to breast cancer. And I was hustling back then. I was a small business person. I had opened a number of small businesses, restaurants and hotel, a small little winery. I was a county supervisor. I was thinking about running for mayor. She was getting sick and sicker, and I was distant.
He's like, I was a small business.
And
yeah, we've upgraded the messaging from my mother was a small business under Kamala Harris to I was a small business.
And she called. She left a voicemail. It's in the book.
I am a small business.
How about getting this voicemail? Literally, hi, it's your mom. Next week, I'll be taking my own life. If you want to visit me, I would encourage you to do so before next Thursday. That was literally the voice. I still have the voicemail. I kept it. And it was a big wake-up call. And I realized how selfish and self-absorbed I was.
Bro, if you're Gavin Newsom, you probably shouldn't reveal that information because it only confirms people's priors about how, like, sociopathic you sound and look, for the record. It's crazy. Oh my God. I mean, look, this is now we're just on the vibes aspect. We've moved way past like the policy side of things. We're just looking into his background and the way he's communicating, the way he presents himself. I'll be honest with you. Like, maybe I'm too harsh on Gavin. Big Gavy Gav. But I don't think people are going to look at this and be like, well, this guy's a sincere guy. It just kind of makes him look like Patrick Bateman.
And I started spending time with her, but it was too late. She already made the decision. The cancer had metastasized. She was in so much pain. And I had the privilege and the burden, the worst experience, and in hindsight, the most blessed experience I've ever had. And that was being there for her when she took her last breath. My sister and I there at her assisted suicide with a brave doctor. It was against the law. And it was a brave doctor who was willing to help her and take her out of her misery, and was there for that last moment.
Oh my God. Again, how does this read to a self-declared apolitical voter in fucking Missouri, Kentucky, Pennsylvania? Just like I don't want to be ruthless here. Once again, I'm trying to read this as charitably as possible. But like this is a really devastating experience. Pretty raw though, no? I think those voters like that. No, this is supposed to be like a very emotional moment. Okay? But the way he's talking about it is so one note, if that makes sense. Like it comes across like it's robotic, and I don't think this is I don't know if this would actually read positively to many people.
And you were 34, she was 55, and you wrote that there was no peace that blanketed her. She gasped and took a last breath. I kept holding onto her hand tighter and tighter and sobbing.
Yeah, I was there. She had anybody's been in this position with someone who's suffering and struggling. So we came there, and she took some pills, and she started.
I agree with you generally on Gavin Newsom, but I do not think that take is correct. This really humanized for me. Interesting. I think Joe Biden did a better job talking about his son's like drug addiction issues than Gavin Newsom is doing here, talking about his mother taking her own life, doing voluntary active euthanasia to finally get rid of the pain of having like metastasized cancer and dealing with all of that.
Started to doze off a little bit, and she had an old binder of photographs, and she was talking. My sister and I were the two that were with her, both sides. And then she started.
Your weirdest take yet? Really? I think it comes across. I think you guys are. I think you guys are relating back to your own, like, your own experiences, maybe. But I feel like he's. Yes, in my opinion, it's weird to judge people's sorrow this way. Okay, well, you're running for president. This is the book that you're coming out with. You can turn around and tell me that this is an inappropriate assessment. But from where I'm standing, I'm looking at it from the perspective of like an average person who doesn't have like super kind opinions about Gavin Newsom to begin with. Not my own assessment, okay? I mean, even though my own assessment here is not super positive. Yeah, people will say he killed his mom. I can see that attack ad way ahead of time. And then a lot of you guys will turn around and say, you're a monster, you're soulless. And then all of the fucking Republicans will say, we've owned the libs. Like, I think there is a way to talk about this issue, and I don't know if he's doing the best job of emoting.
Started dozing off a little more. My sister said, I can't do this anymore. She didn't want to be there for the end. And she took off. And about 10 more minutes of that, it was just my mom and I. And the doctor came in and administered the final dose, and those last breaths, I'll never forget it. And I was angry that I was there. I was angry with her. At the time, I was for years and years.
Why?
Why would you do this? Why would you? There was nothing calming about it. It was not a romantic end. She struggled, and she had struggled her whole life. And I'm realizing, and now I realize it, how selfish and self-absorbed, as I suggested I was, that I never had a chance to thank her. Never.
You think Republicans would care if somebody's like a psycho? Yes. If their opposition is, yes. Hello? Have you never met a Republican? If Gavin Newsom was a Republican and he was saying this shit, they'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about, libtard? He was being empathetic. But yeah, for their opposition, they do. What are you talking about? Hello? I mean, look at the Republicans, the way they talk about Kirsten Noem. They don't give a shit that she like literally took a fucking puppy and one-tapped it. They love that shit. They don't care if it's their side. We're talking about like how they're going to attack, and then what that looks like for people in the middle. Will they be swayed from Gavin Newsom's message, or will they be swayed by the attack ads against them?
Really had a chance to say, I love you. Thank you for all your sacrifices.
Yeah, this is not my personal assessment about assisted suicide, for the record. I'm in favor of that. What the fuck is wrong with you? If you think that I'm saying like this is my personal opinion, my only personal opinion here is I feel like the way that Gavin Newsom, everyone goes through pain differently. Everyone grieves differently. Okay? I'm simply stating that Gavin Newsom's grievance process here is probably not going to read positively to a lot of people who already have feelings about assisted suicide. I'm pro. Why the fuck why would you think that I'm against it? I don't think we should force people to live through that pain. I'm just saying there's something off about the way he's talking about it.
Over the years and through the process, I'm telling you, what a gift to be able to write something. I started realizing, that last breath, I'm still, it's extended through me today. That hand I'm holding is her hand. And she's, I'm an expression of her. She's still alive in me. And I've been able to come to grips with it in a deeper and different way. And it's also allowed me to recalibrate my life. And so much of this is about an honest assessment of self, just grinding, trying to be something, trying to make up for someone I felt I wasn't. I'm not smart enough. We talk about my dyslexia and my learning disabilities, how I struggled, how insecure I was, sweaty hands, and always trying to be something. And how in this process of understanding that and uncovering some of those, where those anxieties come from, it's allowed me to let a lot of things go.
You're obviously trying to explore your own life and your family's history in this, but also put out to the world what you say is the full you and not perhaps what people see. They see a slick politician who knows how to talk and, has been climbing and a man in a hurry for a long time. There's a connection that you have to so much history and also key players in San Francisco and national politics, which
Yeah, one thing Biden has been really good at is making people feel sympathy towards him. Whenever an older person thinks about Biden, they think he had a really hard life and he was really good at humanizing himself and talking about grief, enough to hide that he was a really selfish asshole. Absolutely. That's what I'm comparing it to. I'm comparing Joe Biden's like grievance and the way he communicated his grievance to the way Gavin Newsom is communicating his grievance. And I feel like Joe Biden did a much better job about this than Gavin is here, regardless of how he truly feels or how you relate to that experience. You understand?
It's interesting because, again, the book, you're trying to fill out who you are.
Yeah. I'm both and. I'm all these things, but I'm not just the caricature that Fox News paints me out to be. This book is not about victimhood. Quite the contrary. It's about agency. It's about resilience. It's about, it's about the journey that we're on. It's a human story that I think a lot of people can connect to, with divorced families, kids that are struggling, the good and bad in life, the serendipity of life, marriage, divorce. I mean, all of that.
Well, on that, I was going to ask you about that because you do.
Like they're gonna say he's like a fucking entitled rich kid who has been obsessed with his own personal career and his own image his entire life, so much so that he like is using his using this like incredibly traumatic moment and the pain and struggle that his mother went through to write a book that tries to humanize him, and they're just gonna rip him apart. They'll say he's a sociopath. There is a lane for a sociopath, for the record. He just has to be a fucking fighter. You know what I mean? Because even if he was like, I'm a sociopath, but I'm your sociopath and I'm fighting for you, if he was able to like channel that energy that people want from him, he could move on from looking like Erica Kirk to looking like a real fighter. Because Trump is a sociopath. It's obvious. Trump doesn't care about anybody but himself. How has he been able to make himself so appealing, make himself look so appealing to his take a bit, it's going to get clipped bad? That's not even my assessment. I'm saying this is the way they're going to fucking rip on him. Trump is a narcissistic sociopath. Okay? Trump is a narcissistic sociopath and a fucking monster and self-invested, self-interested. How has he been able to get people to feel like to feel this like cult-like zealotry towards him maintaining power, retaining power, by saying, I'm destroying the enemies. I'm destroying your enemies, sometimes even propping up enemies to destroy, right? Your enemies are migrants. Your enemies are trans people. I will kill them. I will destroy them. First, you build an enemy for the base to lean into, to feel like they have anger and hatred towards. You take from previously successful initiatives, the anti-immigration sentiment, white supremacist sentiment, white nativist anti-immigrant agenda, the white nativist anti-immigrant agenda. And then you present yourself as the guy who's going to destroy it, like the elite liberals who only care about your enemies and not you. That creates a decipherable policy agenda for a lot of people as well. For Gavin Newsom, that second part is not there, aside from just hating Donald Trump.
Talk in great detail about issues that not that long ago were taboo.
Yeah.
And things that are not really highlights of your personal life. You talk about the affair that you had with one of your staffers, his wife. You talk about the failure of your first marriage to Kimberly Guilfoyle, who was later engaged, of course, to Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah.
We even talk about your hair.
Yeah. Well,
and about your lifelong struggle with hair.
Oh, God. All right, whatever. Let's continue.
And so, but I guess what I'm getting at here is that, you are also a politician, thinking about your future. You're trying to redefine and fill out, or maybe even get the narrative set in a different way than it is now.
I wish it was that intentional. I wish it was that Machiavellian of sorts. I wish I was that political about it. When I keep referring to this mask, Because I think all of us put on, I think there was Oscar Wilde talked about, in life, we all sort of, our first thing in life is we all have a pose. And the second thing, no one ever really figures out. I'm trying to figure out the second thing. I sort of had that pose. And now I'm just trying, you know what? Just let it go. I am who I am, imperfect as I am. Have a swing at it. You don't like it, I get it. And so it's a little, and I think it's reflected. I think you've seen it in my politics, the way I've addressed Trump and the way, how I'm navigating even going overseas and how I'm talking in the political realm, how we did Prop 50. I'm punching back. I'm just on the other side of it now. I'm just less risk adverse. I've always taken risks. That's what I would define here. But there's a freedom now.
People who really know your story know that you are pretty severely dyslexic, but you really go into what it was like as a kid. As you said, feeling like you're dumb and like you can't get things done and understand things. And you interviewed your Aunt Cindy, your mom's sister, and she described you as a child with a disability, a scrambled brain who required a certain touch. Your parents' failure to even seek out the right professional help for you left you on an island all alone. That's kind of abuse by omission.
That's tough. God bless. She loves me, and I'm blessed. My aunt, my mom did too, but she didn't know how. I talk often in the book. She didn't have the language for something. She was a kid. She was a kid, marrying. My dad was his mid-30s.
So you just struggled with.
And she didn't know how to deal. That's why she said it's okay to be average, because she's probably just trying to get to bed, and I was trying to figure out a book report, and I wasn't reading. I was doing Cliff Notes. I was literally copying the back of Cliff Notes and putting it on a piece of paper, and it was just. And she watched me struggle and scream, and she said, "It's okay." She was basically just saying, "Just let it go." But at the time, I just thought, no, she's just consigning me to this sort of, sort of being stuck on stupid.
But you also say that dyslexia is kind of a superpower as a politician.
Come on. It's the greatest thing in hindsight to happen to me. It just allowed, I have the freedom of not having to be stuck on the written text. I have the freedom of having to work harder, more reps behind the scenes. If you think you're working hard, trust me, I'm 2 to 3x.
But it's also your EQ. Being able to read it.
And you can read the room. You have an emotional intelligence. You can see that you're about problem solving, you're about iteration, you're about trial and error, your willingness to make mistakes, your willingness to seek to understand before you're understood, because you have to feel something. I do think it's a superpower. Those that discover that side of it. If you never discover it, you'll struggle with it the rest of your life. But some of the most dynamic and extraordinary leaders that I know all have one thing in common: dyslexia. It's almost as if it's the sort of creative gene. This notion of a gift, I feel that said, for my mom, was the curse, because her poor kid sitting there, was trying to drop out of school, faking being sick every day, was, going into community college, which, luckily I got lucky with a baseball call from a few coaches and got into 4-year college. But it's turned out to be a blessing. And in politics, a huge blessing.
Kamala Harris. Yeah. You write about the fact that you've been friends with her for a very long time. You came up together, and you talk about your parallel careers. Yeah. She was prosecutor, California DA, and senator. You were San Francisco mayor, lieutenant governor, and governor. What happens if and when those parallel careers intersect and collide?
Well, I'm San Francisco now. She's LA, so we're
talking about
a little bit. There's a little distance between the two of us. That's fate will determine that. And I've never gotten in the way of her ambition, ever. I haven't. And I don't imagine I would in the future. But I don't.
Well, if you run against each other for president.
Yeah, that's fate. I don't know. You can only control what you can control. I think this entire book is that fundamental lesson. And this notion of controlling what you control and taking responsibility for what you control is a big part of what I try to communicate in this book. That's the third thing. It's like how this book will be received. It's the third thing. I can't control that. I can't control whatever decisions she makes.
The Supreme Court struck down most of President Trump's tariffs this week. He's already using different authorities to impose a 15% global tariff, vowing to forge ahead even without Congress. What do you do?
Well, what does anyone do? Are you gonna move your factory from overseas and onshore it with 150-day certainty on a 15% tax or tariff? I mean, the whole thing is a farce. I talk about petulance. It was 10% 2 days ago, maybe 20% tomorrow. I mean, this is madness. He's flailing. He's a punch-drunk boxer. He's just, he's just trying to hit anything, a shadow. And he's a shadow of himself. He's lost a step or two. Under the IEEPA, we were the first state to sue. I was out there in the Central Valley talking about how this is going to impact ranchers and small businesses and farmers, the ag community, my state larger than any other state in the country. And Justice Roberts, by the way, basically our arguments were literally laid out in detail in his response. So it was always an illegal act. He needs to return that money, he needs to refund that money with interest. He can do that in a nanosecond. They can do that electronically. They can do electronically. They have the tariff codes. They have the ability. They do refunds all the time.
Oh shit, the bots are back. Oh, what the fuck? That's crazy. The bots are back in town, ladies and gentlemen.
The ability to do that. The problem is for families, it's been about $1,701 a year.
Wait a minute, is this the exact same time as yesterday? Didn't the bots also fucking target their stream at like 1:30 yesterday as well? Very weird.
That's a different requirement that I think he has to pay the American people back. I saw Besant out there almost gleeful.
Yeah, it's very real. There's a very real audience of people who are just very invested in Gavin Newsom's new book.
He was gleeful that no, we won't be doing it. This is Dumb and Dumber, Trump and Besant. They've wrecked this economy. 1.4% GDP growth in the last quarter. Inflation back up to 3%. The worst jobs market we've seen since 2013. 2.2% GDP for the
Genuine question, what is the incentive for someone to pay to up your views? I have no fucking idea. Maybe they have a false notion. I have a couple theories on it. One is I've been very critical of like top streamers that are botting. So this is a way to get them to be like, see, Hassan is botting, says you, right? Like he's a hypocrite or something like that. It could be a advertising for their services. Yeah, it's advertising for their services, full stop. That could be another reason. It could be someone thinking that like Twitch will ban me. I saw someone on Twitter actually think you had 350K yesterday, and because of that, they thought you were wasting your influence. It could be a better funnel for that amount with that amount of people. Yeah, there's always going to be like dummies who don't understand it. Yeah. Isn't it thousands of dollars an hour? I have no idea. I don't know how much it costs, but some people have said it's much cheaper. Some people have said it's much more expensive. But yeah, I think it's personally a waste because there's nothing like it's malicious and it's outside of my control. But at the end of the day, it doesn't like fucking harm me. So you should stop doing it. You know what I mean? If anything, it literally ends up boosting my stream to the top of the directory. And then it causes real viewership to tune in, thinking that some shit's going down. You know?
Entire year, he inherited 2.8. It's a wrecking ball presidency. He's wrecking this economy. His entire economic paradigm is mass deportations, tax cuts for billionaires, and tariffs. And he's been exposed. He's a fraud.
There's a Kalshi bet on it, apparently. Wait, really? They're betting on it? No, this is fake, right? Wait, this is fake. There's no way this is real. Send me the real bet if there is a real bet. I know Mexico's on fire. We're going to cover it. Don't worry. Oh, fuck. God damn it. I got fucking paywalled. Hold on. Remove paywall.com. Go to option 2. I'm not a robot. Okay, there it is. We're going to do the Mexico story after this Gavin Newsom
Wait, the tariff? This is a self-dealing operation. This is about his personal portfolio. You know exactly what he did in Vietnam with the tariffs. He used them to get a deal on his golf course to fast-track his development. Connect the dot. This is unprecedented grift happening in real time. That's reflected in what just happened with the tariff decision in the Supreme Court. It was a profound moment for this administration.
I do want to, while we're on the economy, ask about affordability. Because yes, people are struggling all across the country. California has the highest cost of living in the nation. The state's prices are 11% higher than the national average. We were actually out to dinner here in Nashville.
I also haven't noticed any internet issues other than during your interviews. No, we went back to the ISP and yelled at them so much that they basically somehow fixed it.
Last night, we met a couple from California. Yeah. They moved out of California because they couldn't afford the rent or even to buy a home and also start a family.
Yeah, we've had hundreds of thousands of people move in California the last 2-3 years. We've seen population growth. As you know, we moved from 6th to the 4th largest economy in the world, and we dominate now in every key industry, from AI, quantum, robotics. We dominate in ag. We dominate forestry.
But people are struggling to afford things like your mom was.
And that's why we did $11 insulin, first of its kind in the United States. It's why we have universal health care and the lowest uninsured rate in the country, 6.4%. It's why we just subsidize over 300,000 child care slots, more than any other state in the nation. That's why 65% of people graduate from the UC and CSU with zero debt. It's why we have the highest minimum wage for healthcare workers, $25 in the United States. For fast food workers, $20 in the minimum, $20 minimum wage. So we're looking at it from both sides. Why we have a parents' agenda that expanded paid sick leave and extended to 8 weeks of paid family leave, all to support families, to address cost of living, and to address the affordability crisis that goes back literally 70 years in California. For one reason, we're as dumb as we want to be on housing. We haven't been able to get out of our way. It explains more things in more ways and more days of what's wrong with our state. And finally, we move forward with historic
Bye-bye, bots. Bots are gone. Say bye-bye.
Housing reforms that even our worst critics, including some on the left, like my friend Ezra Klein, acknowledged were the most progressive and perhaps most impactful reforms in a generation to finally address that issue.
Last question. What are the metrics that will determine whether you run for president?
There's 5 of them. Dutch, Brooklyn, Hunter. You get the drift.
Want me to help you name your rest of your kids?
But the biggest one is Jennifer. So,
exactly.
It's gonna look. This book was dedicated to them. I wish this was a book my parents wrote.
Do they want you to run?
And it's gonna be. I don't know. It depends on the day. And my son Romy, it was very powerful, texted me a few months ago when there was some headline that suggested that I made some decision. And he goes, Dad, are you running president? I said, no, we'll do the decision as a family. He goes, you can't. And I said, why? He goes, I'm too young. You need to spend more time with us. I mean, how do you deal with that one? I screenshot it. If I have my phone, I'd show you.
How do you deal with that one?
Exactly. I'm asking you. Come on.
I'm not running for president.
No,
it's not
that's the point, and the point is the point. And so what matters is what matters. Like what matters is what matters. And that's
and then going back
hard.
to the book, your mother didn't want you to even get this far in politics.
And I think, that text, that's why I talk about fate. But it will be done as a family, and it'll be done as a unit, and it'll be done in a partnership. With these magnificent creatures. I'm just so blessed. The 2 boys, 2 girls. And people say their kids are perfect. Mine are not.
I know that no matter what I say about Gavin Newsom, it'll be read as like Hassan just fucking hates Gavin Newsom, so he's just going to be anti-Gavin Newsom no matter what. But I just don't think that this reads as like a real human, you know? It just doesn't. It doesn't read as like a real human being. I don't know. I just don't see this as like even remotely garnering the empathetic vision that he is trying to present himself as. He's shitting on his kids. Who should this relate to? I mean, Trump shits on his kids all the fucking time.
They're perfectly imperfect because they're all composites.
It almost feels like he just read Trump and was like, I will just become the liberal Trump. And what we need right now is a left Trump. Okay, not a liberal Trump, but a leftist Trump. Because the key component that caused people to feel like Donald Trump was their dear leader is not that he is a billionaire sociopath who fucking hates his kids, who doesn't care about anybody but himself. It's that he was going to break the system. And a lot of people refuse to recognize that. A lot of people think, no. What a lot of people want is stability. They want to go back to business as usual. They want to go back to brunch. Now that Joe Biden is the president, we're going to brunch again, baby. Right? Well, guess what? We went back to brunch from 2020 to 2024. And the people were like, oh shit, no, we don't want brunch. We want breaking. We want a hammer. I don't care if someone is like coming across as fucking sociopathic, okay? But in order to develop a base of support that will ride for you, you cannot rely on the establishment Democrat K-hivers and the consultant class that has attached themselves as a vestige of the party that's constantly, like the bloodsuckers they are, feeding back information to the party that keeps telling him, no, you're doing the great thing. Keep doing moderate, keep pivoting to the moderate center. You'll win the corporate structure back to your side. You'll win the titans of industry back, because they will also recognize the corporate benefactors, the real constituents that anybody cares about in this duopoly, will remember that stability yields prosperity, and they will go for you. And they will ride for you again. And then ultimately, you know, the voters will fall whichever way they fall, but you'll win a marginal victory without really hurting the feelings of big corporations. That's a desperate gamble, especially one that doesn't recognize. It's a desperate gamble that doesn't see the frustrations that the average person has. It actually hemorrhages the party's base of support, because the party's base and the apolitical masses are just pissed off with business as usual politics, and the low propensity voters every now and then swing in the direction of an anti-establishment candidate that's a populist candidate. On the right, I call it sloppulist, right? You cannot rely on people's anger and resentment towards Donald Trump's instability to garner enough votes that you secure a marginal victory over Trump. You have to present a bold vision, a radical agenda. You have to communicate to the voters that you will pursue this agenda, that you're on their side, that you are their fighter, sociopath or not. Okay, this is the Heather Cox Richardson view of history and politics. Everything was perfect before him. And if we just get rid of Donald Trump, we can all go back to brunch. In Newsom's case, that means dining with billionaires who won't tax. Like, this has been my frustration since 2016. You can't say Bernie was right and not recognize that shit was bad before Trump. That's why it led to Trump. Okay? And then this is precisely what I talked about in the 2024 cycle over and over again. Oh, you think we're going to have a rebound here. You think that people are desperate for status quo politics. The reason why Trump won in 2016 was because the voters said, we want something different. Okay? In 2028, this is reductive vision here, but in 2028, if there is an election at all, the party that captures that essence, the anti-establishment essence, the populist essence, will win again. Okay? Liberals get very frustrated with this assessment because they go, oh, you're so stupid. You're demanding stupidity. You don't want adults to win power and legislate. Politics is the art of possible. And that legislation requires having legislation and being a real legislator and doing good governance requires telling people hard truths like good things are not possible. That's not the case. The side that will say, no, we have a bold vision here and we're going to break the system down. The system is not benefiting you. We recognize your anger and we're going to channel your frustration or reappropriate your frustration to an easier target to take down, like immigrants or trans people or whatever the fuck, will end up winning. And the Democratic Party or the left, the broad left anti-fascist movement here shouldn't be to say, no, we're going to go back to business as usual politics. Things were incredible in 2016. Am I right? 2014. Remember how great things were in the 2010s? That's not gonna cut it. Because if things were so great in the 2010s, people wouldn't have voted for fucking Donald Trump. That's it.
That's the one thing about Trump you have to watch. He throws out these things to see how far he can go. And that's why it's so important. You don't just roll your eyes and say, well, that's Trump being Trump. You will lose this country if we continue with that. You have got to call it out. We have got to push back. And I think, again, this notion that we're capable of doing much more speed. His is shock and awe. He wants to flood the zone, but we are capable of doing much more. And I absolutely do believe the next president, particularly if it's a Democrat, has to prove that as well. That's the one thing about.
They were more anti-Hillary than anything? No, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. People didn't, every single person that voted against Hillary Clinton didn't arrive at that position because of the conspiracy theories and because of the hatred that they felt towards the Clinton dynasty in general. Although there were a lot of people who felt that way. But the broadest majorities that were anti-Clinton were anti-Clinton because Hillary Clinton represented status quo politics. Okay? You like the system currently? Vote for me. You don't like the system currently? Vote for the other guy. And a shit ton of people did not like the system currently as it stood. And it's clear that that resentment didn't go away after 4 years of business as usual politics when Joe Biden won. Things got bad enough, especially due to COVID as well, that Joe Biden ended up winning. Okay? But clearly, once Joe Biden won and we went back to status quo politics, marginal improvements that were too little, too late, a day late, a dollar short, people were like, okay, I'm still not happy. I'm not comfortable. I'm not happy at all. I want someone to break this again. I want a hammer. I want a hatchet. And Trump represented himself as that hatchet, regardless of the fact that he was already president for 4 years. And he took advantage of people not remembering that he was president for 4 years. That's why he won with low propensity voters, something that I talked about quite a bit. No, it's not fuck Jill Stein at all, because especially in 2024, you can't say that. You want to know why? Because if all third-party voters voted for Kamala Harris, she still would have lost. So that's not even like mathematically a possibility. You can't even fucking point the finger of blame. In 2016, you could, at Bernie Sanders, at third-party voters and whatever, even though that's still the wrong theory, because the party is not entitled to the voters. The party must earn the votes. The notion that the Democratic Party is entitled to the voters and the voters failed the party rather than the party failing the voters is already the fundamentally wrong position to have. It is against the fundamental principle of theoretical democracy. The idea that, like, of course you're going to vote for me. I'm the only other option. People don't work like that. Okay? It's crazy because this was a major problem. This has been a major problem in virtually every single election since 2016. Kamala Harris did not lose votes to third-party voters. Kamala Harris lost votes to the couch. Kamala Harris lost votes to voter apathy. And the faster we recognize that that is entirely in the hands of the party itself and not the voters, the faster we can get out of this fucking bind.
Everything in the book, me, and they're all working.
As tensions mount.
Anyway, let's talk about, well, first I'm going to say liberals are very mad at me, again, with the glazing North Korea shit. Hassan does not have an ideology outside of America bad. Anyone who doesn't like America good. Glazing North Korea was inevitable. Once again, no jokes allowed, of course. No jokes allowed at all. And not only are you not allowed to make jokes at all, you're also not allowed to make an assessment, right? Because I'm making a joking assessment about sovereignty. Countries that develop sovereignty through developing nuclear arms, and how through that process, they are able to, in comparison to all these other nations in the periphery, make significant gains for their people, regardless of their domestic repression. Okay? Because domestic repression is totally separate. Okay? My argument here is the DPRK should look like Libya. It should look like Iraq. It should look like Afghanistan. It should look like any of these countries that America has tried to democratize, countries that haven't been able to defend themselves against American imperialism, countries that don't have nuclear arms. I'm here recognizing, why are you still giving money to a known pedo? I see that blue check. Yes, unfortunately, this blue check mark was given to me for free so that other people will see that there are individuals such as myself with a blue check, so it's still legitimate. I never paid for it. I don't actually have, any of the amenities of Twitter Premium. I don't get paid off of Twitter. It was forced upon me. And a lot of people don't understand that. You think I would fucking pay to purge the blue check mark? Of course not. You aren't funny. It doesn't read as a joke when you make a joke most of the time. Continue to expect the same response to your poor ability to deliver comedy in between the news, big dog. No hate, but it's been a thing for a while. I would be surprised if Will Neff hasn't at least said this much to you about it. I love that you had to package this assessment in between like an incredibly parasocial statement. Like, I love that you slammed a parasocial statement in the ass cheeks of this fucking idiotic assessment to begin with. Like, the delivery on this is very clearly supposed to be a joking, humorous delivery. It's a fucking apology form. Okay? Do I have to explain what a joke is to the most autistic chatters every single time? One of the most fun segments of all time on this broadcast is when I sit there and then I deliver people, I explain to people what a joke looks like. Okay? See, this is a very common joke format, an apology format. Okay? Let me spoon feed that to you. So unless you are truly someone who believes that jokes are bourgeois decadence, or jokes are an unjustifiable hierarchy, or jokes are, counter-revolutionary behavior, jokes are only done by those who have reactionary sentiment in their hearts, we can go to knowyourmeme.com and I can autistically debate lord you the concept of common jokes. Apology form refers to an exploitable meme template intended to celebrate the return of greatness of an athlete or celebrity by forcing said person's critics to apologize for doubting them. The meme was initially popularized among NBA fans in 2019 and 2020 before shifting to the Super Smash Bros. Community in the following years, where it largely went viral through variations concerning the Smash player Tweak. Origin. On November 28th, 2019, the the Twitter account of Krill the Narrative posted an apology forum for the then Portland Trailblazer player and former NBA All-Star Carmelo Anthony. The forum has several sections for people which could apologize, including the media convinced me he was done. Mercury was in retrograde, and I will hereby respect Carmelo Anthony. I will not talk down on the future first ballot Hall of Famer. If you can't comprehend that this is supposed to be a joke format, before we get into the sincere analysis here, because obviously jokes also have oftentimes a revelation about your perspective. But if you can't comprehend that this very common meme format is actually supposed to be delivered in a humorous manner, you're not going to make it, okay? Now that we address that this is like very deliberately presented as a joke format, let's move on. This is my favorite autism assistance segment. It's my least favorite segment. Aside from the joke apologia form, the serious, sobering analysis in this situation, in this circumstance, is supposed to describe to you, in a humorous tone, the difference between countries that have actually developed nuclear arms in an effort to avoid American domination versus countries that have not been able to do that and are getting fucking destroyed. Because when you look at countries in the periphery, countries in the global south, countries that America has a great vision for, countries that America wants to destabilize, okay? The countries that America has destabilized in the last 2 decades come to mind. Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Venezuela, Cuba. There's a difference between There's a difference between what has happened in those countries and what's happened in a country like North Korea. North Korea has overcome incredible odds since the 90s onward, when they lost their lifeline, the only trade partner that they had when the USSR dissolved, and then had to withstand mass famine. A lot of the ways in which people talk about like everyday existence in North Korea actually stems from the famine era, where people were severely malnourished, dying due to famine, with seemingly no help in sight. Okay? For those of you who can only comprehend the world through a NATO framework, think about Ukraine. If you don't have nukes, you don't have sovereignty. I don't want anyone to have nukes, but in the absence of full-blown denuclearization, the reality of the matter is the reason why North Korea focused on developing their nuclear strategy and then also their delivery systems as well is so that they, in spite of the fucking full-blown sanctions, some of the most comprehensive sanctions on the planet. There is no country that has been as sanctioned and as forcibly severed from the international market, from like global trade, diplomacy and all of that, has been able to develop, okay? And the reason for that is clearly because they have nuclear arms. You're not supposed to compare North Korea to, I don't know, fucking South Korea. You're not supposed to compare North Korea to all of these other countries in Europe. Or you're not even supposed to compare North Korea to like China, really. North Korea is perhaps best compared to a country like Cuba, a country like Venezuela, a country that has been in the crosshairs of the United States of America, and it has received worse sanctions than all of those countries. Okay? I think I'm showing my bias. I thought it was funny because you were right. Yeah. I made a humorous quip about a serious subject. But of course, this person, one, refused to recognize that it's a joke, and two, predictably refused to understand the serious point that I was making. So they said, Hassan doesn't have a position other than America bad, anyone who doesn't like America good. Glazing North Korea was inevitable. Carl Bayer responded, do liberals have any serious response to the left criticism of U.S. policy anymore, or is you hate America all that you have left? Unfortunately, that is the case. As countries that are outside of American control and American sphere of dominance continue to develop, okay, and showcase that they do have the opportunity now, because they have another market that they can go to, specifically China, and also in some instances Russia as well. And they can get the raw materials necessary to develop, to build outside of the American sphere of influence without direct American entanglement, direct American intervention beyond the obvious like sanctions regime that America has designed for every country in the periphery. The more this becomes impossible to ignore, the more reactionary liberals have gotten. It's very frustrating. Liberals are supposed to be smarter than this. My entire career, I have heard this exact same sentiment from Republicans. Steven Crowders of the world saying, you criticize America, you criticize American dominance, you fucking hate America. Why don't you leave America? Right? And now I'm hearing it from liberals more and more. And that's very frustrating. Not liberal voters, of course, but liberal commentators. You're supposed to be smarter than this. You're supposed to be better read than this. The other side of the story, of course, is that this creates an environment, this creates an information vacuum that causes people to flip pretty dramatically. For years and years, we presented we presented China like North Korea, a place where people were like pushing trains, eating rats and whatever, a country run by peasants, a despotic, authoritarian country that no one wants to live in and everyone is escaping. And then when people found out that that wasn't the case, that snapped them out. of that stupor. In the long run, that hurts you. So when people hear Yeonmi Park's approach to the subject, that North Koreans are eating rats and they're pulling trains, and then they see that that's not the case, that actually, in my opinion, snaps back in people's fucking faces. But that's not even my assessment at all, because I don't think North Korea is this, beautiful utopian socialist society anyway. That's not my argument at all. My argument simply revolves around a comparison between North Korea to a country like Libya, right? What is this? Leftists are calling Trump's sanctions on Cuba inhumane, claiming that they're starving the Cuban people and making life harder on the island. But where was this outrage when sanctions were imposed on apartheid South Africa? There ain't no way this is a real... Oh my God. The SOS Cuba enjoyers are so funny. They make the dumbest goddamn arguments, dude. It's crazy. China is fascist, you piece of shit. This guy is spamming. China is fascist, you piss of shit. China is fascist, you piss of shit. My sister is hot 67. Brilliant analysis, thank you. Yes. Apartheid South Africa was Apartheid South Africa was an ally to the United States of America. I also demand sanctions on the state of Israel, because sanctions on our allies are much more effective than sanctions on our foreign adversaries. If you want change to take place, you can't fucking demand that the government stop doing what they're doing for no other reason and hope that, like, if you starve the population, the government will inevitably change. Or you'll cause the population to be so angry that they'll go and kill their fucking leadership. Yes, there's a difference between good things and bad things. The Cuban communist regime is not doing an apartheid. Okay? Shut the fuck up. Israel is. If the Cuban communist regime was doing an apartheid, I'd have a dramatically different opinion on what must be done. Donald Trump's new 15% global tariff will mostly greatly benefit countries he has singled out for heavy criticism, including China and Brazil. Longstanding U.S. allies, including the UK and EU and Japan, will suffer the largest hit from the new levy. Financial Times math checks out. Under the new 15% global tariff, China and Brazil actually get a better deal than before. They were facing 25 to 50% under IEEPA. UK, EU, Japan, they're now at 15%, up from 10% in some cases. So yeah, Trump's reciprocal tariff flipped the board. Allies pay more, rivals pay less. The irony writes itself. This is ChatGPT. This is literally a ChatGPT assessment of just this exact same thing that they were talking about. We are becoming dumber and dumber as a society. Why would you link me the ChatGPT assessment of the thing that the Financial Times is reporting on? Anyway, I know the New York Times is saying Trump is leaning in. Breaking news, New York Times citing Trump advises the president is leaning towards launching a strike within days to demonstrate the necessity of Iran abandoning its pursuit of nuclear weapons. We're going to talk about that right now, and then I'll get to Mexico. The reason why it's in a couple days is because it's probably going to be after State of the Union. I don't know if they'll do it before the State of the Union. You know what I mean?
Over a possible U.S. strike on Iran, there have been renewed protests in the country. A few hundred protesters were seen in the capital, Tehran, after a bloody crackdown that left thousands dead just weeks ago. The demonstrations erupting as President Trump confirms he is considering a limited strike on Iran to try to force it to agree to a nuclear deal. But Iran remains defiant, while insisting it wants a peaceful resolution. It's also warning it will retaliate against U.S. bases and assets in the region if it's attacked. President Trump has given Iran an ultimatum to agree to some kind of nuclear deal within the next 2 weeks, warning, quote, really bad things will happen if it doesn't. A massive U.S. military force now deployed in the region. Satellite images show the USS Gerald Ford sailing into the Mediterranean. It's going to join another U.S. aircraft carrier, more than 100 cargo planes, fueling tankers and fighter jets that have been sent there. All told, there are now around 35,000 U.S. troops in the region, the U.S. demanding an end to Iran's nuclear program, a curb on its ballistic missiles, and an end to Iran's support for proxy groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon. For now, though, the diplomatic track is still technically on, but there are really growing concerns that unless Iran makes major concessions on its nuclear program, then an attack by the U.S. might become unavoidable. Janae?
The region certainly on edge. Ian, panel, our thanks to you.
We turn now to the escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran. The U.S. has assembled what is, by some measures, the biggest military buildup in the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. as the world's largest warship also heads towards the region. But President Trump has said he'd prefer a diplomatic deal with Iran. For the latest, we go now to Tehran and the Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi. Welcome to Face the Nation.
Well, thank you, Margaret. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
So, do you believe President Trump plans to strike Iran, or is he using this threat as leverage?
Well, I'm not, I cannot judge, but one fact is there that if they want to find a resolution for Iran's peaceful nuclear program, the only way is diplomacy. And we have proved this in the past, and I believe that still there is a good chance to have a diplomatic solution which is based on a win-win game, and a solution is at our reach. So there is no need for any military buildup, and military buildup cannot help it and cannot pressurize us.
Well, you said on Friday that you would have a draft proposal within 2 to 3 days. Have you gotten the Supreme Leader to sign off on that proposal yet? And if so, when will you give it to Envoy Steve Witkoff?
Well, we are still working on that, and we are trying to make it something which consists of elements which can accommodate both sides' concerns and interests. And we are working on those elements. And I believe that when we meet, probably this Thursday in Geneva again, we can
oh my God.
Work on those elements and prepare a good text and come to a fast deal. This is my understanding. I see it quite possible.
So you have confirmed a meeting with Steve Witkoff.
You are the same people who supposedly care about Palestine. Brother, sister, don't worry. America is going to fucking destroy Iran regardless, okay? No matter what we say, America's going to bomb Iran regardless. You will get your wishes, okay? America will kill your family members. Don't worry. I know you're desperate for it, okay? I know. It's going to happen. Fear not. And they will present it as though they're liberating your country. Don't worry about that either. Stop chirping.
Thursday in Geneva, but your leadership has still not signed off on the proposal. Is that right?
But these are two separate things. Of course, we continue our negotiation. At the same time, we are working on the elements of a deal and a draft of the text. So I hope that when we get there, we are prepared to talk and negotiate on those drafts.
Well, let me ask you this. You helped negotiate that 2015 nuclear deal under the Obama administration. How would this deal with Trump be different than that one?
Well, 10 years have passed, and there is a new situation. Our nuclear program has advanced technologically, more advanced at that time, and there are, of course, more sanctions and more pressures. So I believe that a better deal than JCPOA or 2015 nuclear deal is possible. And there are elements that could be much better than the previous deal.
Like what?
I have the experience. I have the experience of that deal, as you said. I negotiated that deal. We went into so many details, but I think right now there is no need for that much details. We can agree on basic things, and we can make sure that Iran's nuclear program is peaceful and would remain peaceful forever.
Someone in the chat said, how will Trump sell this to his base since he ran on no new wars? I don't know, when you say Iran is brutal, it automatically means the war is justified. Okay. Right now, what do you think? Right now, who do you think is going to kill more people? The Iranian government that has already killed the protesters, or an American bombing campaign in Iran? What do you think is going to lead to more instability? Obviously the war. Okay. So why are you yelling at me? Every time you say the regime kills people, everyone says you want war. The reason why people are saying that to you is because unfortunately, that is the reason that Trump is using. That's the casus belli that Trump is using to bomb Iran. That's it. So if you recognize that the bigger problem here now, at least in the interim, is America bombing Iran, understand why the coverage focuses on America bombing Iran. Because right now, when Israel was conducting its genocide in Gaza, one of the common points of argumentation initially was they were liberating Gaza from Hamas. That Hamas was responsible for not only horrifying acts of terrorism and mass rape in Israel, but also that Hamas was brutal to its own citizens. That Israel was somehow doing a favor. Israel was somehow doing a favor to the Palestinians with their bombing campaign.
And at the same time, more sanctions would be lifted.
Well, just very quickly, you're talking about nuclear. You are offering a nuclear-only deal at this stage because Secretary Rubio said anything meaningful would also have to involve ballistic missiles and your support for proxies in the region.
Well, right now we are negotiating only nuclear, and there is no other subjects.
Okay. Would you be willing to allow weapons inspectors unfettered access to your nuclear sites and for American inspectors to be among them?
Well, we are a committed member of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, and we have a safeguard agreement with the agency, International Atomic Energy Agency, and we are ready to cooperate with the agency in full according to the safeguard, and we may accept with certain conditions the additional protocol to the safeguard. To the NPT, and I think a full verification mechanism, full monitoring mechanism is acceptable and can be in place.
Okay, so you continue to say that your nuclear program is peaceful, and you know there are a lot of skeptics around the world, including in the United States Congress. There's pressure on President Trump from within his own party. There were 52 Republican senators, 177 House Republicans who have called on President Trump to demand zero enrichment and full dismantlement of your nuclear program. Why should President Trump consider allowing Iran to have even the smallest bit of enrichment?
Well, first of all, enrichment is our right. We are a member of NPT, and we have every right to enjoy a peaceful nuclear energy, including enrichment. How we use this right is something related to us only. The enrichment is a sensitive part of our negotiation. The American team know about, they knows our position, we knows their position, and we have already exchanged our concerns. And I think a solution is achievable, but I'm not going to negotiate through media.
No, I understand, but we have seen very public statements from the president that he said no enrichment, and that's a red line. But when you say it's your right, okay, but you could get enriched uranium and buy it from someplace else. You know this. You've done this. Is demanding the right to enrich on Iranian soil really worth the risk right now? You're facing the potential destruction of your country and the regime based on the kind.
Dude, America is a crazy. Oh my God. Hating the IRGC and Ayatollah aside, hating the Islamic Republic aside, if you are Persian, Iranian, how do you fucking hear the CBS Face the Nation lady talk to this person this way? Like, I do not like the Turkish government. It is not a secret. I can't go back to Turkey. But if Recep Tayyip Erdogan was sitting there talking about Turkish sovereignty and the CBS Face the Nation lady talked this way, I would lose my fucking mind. I'd be waving the Turkish flag around. Like, how does this not activate something primal in your brain where you're like, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean, like, we're doing gunboat diplomacy? We're just, America can get their wishes across no matter what because the alternative is death and destruction? Fuck you. How about fuck yourself? Like, when he brings up the non-proliferation treaty, he's not bringing up a random fucking fact. He is, like, literally talking about the international standards that they abide by. And she's saying, fuck the international standards. America doesn't want you to do this because Israel doesn't want you to do this. And therefore, sucks to fucking suck. And the reason why I'm stressing the Israel side of this is not even because, oh, I hate Israel, all this, and I'm just like constantly trying to say Israel is responsible for everything or whatever. The reason why I'm stressing Israel in this equation is because America has shown under the Obama leadership, under the Obama administration, a totally different alternative vision for how to deal with Iran and its nuclear program. It is one of the Barack Obama administration's signature foreign policy accomplishments. So clearly, there's something different with the Trump regime, where Israel is the driving force. It's very, very frustrating to have to act as though like Israel is not in the driver's seat when it comes to America's Middle Eastern policies nowadays, especially in the second Trump administration, but certainly even in the first.
And a military buildup we're looking at.
Well, I think as a sovereign country, we have every right to decide for ourselves, by ourselves. We have developed this technology by ourselves, by our scientists, and it's very dear to us because we have paid a lot. We have paid a huge expense for that. We have been on the sanctions for.
Not only paid a huge expense, but you have lost lives for it. Israel has consistently assassinated top academics in the fucking country. Okay? It's insane, dude. Yeah, they want to have indigenous energy development. Like, what the fuck is this? What is this conversation? The biggest criticism I have of the Iranian government, when it, not on the domestic front, obviously, I have plenty of fucking major criticisms of the Iranian government on the domestic front. But in terms of foreign policy, the biggest criticism I have is that their lack of interest in developing fucking nukes. Either shit or get off the pot, big dog. America is going to destroy you. How do you not understand this at this point?
For at least 20 years, and we have lost our scientists, and we have had a war because of that. So that is now a matter of dignity and pride for Iranians, and we are not going to give it up. There is no legal reason to do that. While everything is peaceful, while everything is safeguarded by the agency, while we had an agreement in the past when we remained fully committed to that, and you know, it was the U.S. who just withdrew with no justification. Yeah. So we are a committed member of NPT. We want to use our right. We want to have our right and to exercise that.
But you understand this could be make it or break it for you here. I mean, look, your air defenses were largely demolished by Israel this past summer. They dominate your military. They killed the leader of your most powerful proxy in Hezbollah. The United States bombed your underground nuclear facilities. Your economy is in shambles right now. So why do you think the regime could even survive unless you give this up?
Well, that is not the case. When you talked about the air defense and the war we had with Israel, you know, yes, we had problem with our air defense, but the Israelis had also problem with their air defense, and our missiles were able to hit targets inside Israel. So you know, they started the war, but after 12 days, they asked for a ceasefire, unconditional ceasefire. Why? Because they couldn't defend themselves against our missiles. So we have a very good capability of missiles, and now we are even in a better situation than previous war. So as a matter of fact, we are in a powerful position to defend ourselves. We know how to defend ourselves. We did it in 12-day war, and we are fully prepared to repeat that if necessary.
Well, respectfully.
Objectively correct. The 12-day war was disastrous. The 12-day war was disastrous for Israeli defenses. They showed there's a reason why there is a massive fleet. Not only just like 40 to 50% of our entire naval assets are now in the region surrounding Israel, surrounding Iran, but there's also a massive fleet of aerial surveillance planes that we've shipped out to the region as well. And that is because America cares about protecting Israel more than anything else, and they want to make sure that this time around they have enough anti-aircraft and anti-missile defenses to make sure that the Iranian missiles do not penetrate the Israeli defenses like it did in the aftermath of the 12-day war. They were able to deplete their munitions, the Israeli munitions. Iran was able to deplete the Israeli munitions and expose massive fucking flaws in the Israeli defenses. Yeah, E3 AWACS? No, it's E5, isn't it? E5s and E35s? Lockheed Martin? I don't know. Is it E3? The E3 is the E3 is the Boeing one. The E3 AWACS is the Boeing surveillance one. And then the Lockheed Martin one is the, which one is it? Is it the E35? No. I'm not a plane guy. Yeah, it's fucking over, dude. This represents 40 to 50% of deployable U.S. air power in the world. Think air power on the order of 1991 or 2003 Iraq War and growing. Never has the U.S. deployed this much force against a potential enemy and not launched strikes. And a big part of the reason why they deployed this much is not just because they want to beef up their offensive capabilities. They also want to beef up their defensive capabilities, specifically their defensive capabilities of Israel. Because the reality of the matter is the Iranian barrage of missiles greatly exhausted the capabilities of the Iron Dome, the Arrow systems, the American THAAD missile defenses, the American cruisers in the region, aircraft carriers in the region, American planes. It showed major vulnerabilities. They were able to fucking pummel Tel Aviv. They were able to strike military bases inside of Israel, inside of Israel's protective shield. That is the reason why Israel conceded to a 12-day, it conceded to a ceasefire after 12 days. There was plenty of reporting at the time and plenty of reporting after the fact that they were running out of interceptors. They were running out of their ballistic missiles, especially the costly ones, the THAAD ones, which have a long ass fucking runway and long ass. It takes a long time to fucking keep making new ones of those. U.S. forces burned through 150 THAAD munitions during the 12-day war, leading the Pentagon to push quadrupling the production of the ABM. The U.S. military obviously has finite resources, but air defense is a perfect example of where the resources are much more finite, said a seasoned Pentagon official. They're incredibly valuable. Every single combatant commander wants more. That is a part of the calculation. That is precisely the reason why they're bringing in this many assets. Okay?
Israel has air superiority over Iran, but let's talk about what you are saying in terms of your...
Our missiles have also superiority over the space of Israel. They can hit their targets. They hit their targets in a very exact way, and they can do it again.
Okay, well, there are 40,000 American personnel in the Middle East right now. In Iran's letter to the UN Security Council, you seem to threaten them because you said America will bear full responsibility. You said you don't want war, but...
Threaten them? What are they doing in the region? Playing patty cake? Hello? You can't even say we will defend ourselves. We're a sovereign nation that will defend ourselves. And if it means fatalities on the American side, then so be it. That's just a retaliation if America first strikes Iran or if Israel first strikes Iran. That's not a threat, dumbass. It's just a likely scenario. It's what any country would do. What the fuck? God, this is so, It's like, well, if we come over to punch you with all of our friends, if you punch back, that's a threat. That's a fatal threat.
If that's what happens, all bases, facilities, and assets of the hostile force in the region will be legitimate targets. Are you saying Iran will hit U.S. bases in the Gulf, or will you also bomb the Gulf countries that are your neighbors?
Well, I'm not going to say what we are going to do exactly. Obviously, we defend ourselves. If the U.S. attacks us, then we have every right to defend ourselves. If the U.S. attacks us, that is the act of aggression. What we do in response is the act of self-defense. So, and it is justifiable and legitimate. So our missiles cannot hit the American soil. So obviously, we have to do something else. We have to hit, the Americans' base. in the region. That is a fact. I am a diplomat. I'm not supposed to talk about our military plans. But what can I say is that why we should go for war when there is every possibility for a peaceful solution.
Mr. Foreign Minister, I have more questions for you, but I am out of time here. We are going to watch this diplomacy very carefully to see what happens in the coming days. Thank you for joining us.
We begin with breaking news out of Mexico.
It's just crazy to be like, how dare you threaten American forces that just happen to be encircling your country, that have hit your country already, that say they're going to do it again. It's mind-boggling. The fucking audacity, man. Only America gets to do whatever the fuck it wants. Anyway, here's the Mexico update. I gotta pee.
Canadians in Puerto Vallarta.
Wait, this is what AOC said when she was asked what she's doing to help Iran?
From the very earliest days of this massacre,
I gotta pee.
We have made clear our stance in support of the Iranian people and the protesters who are being brutally persecuted and victimized by this regime. The shocking levels of violence are beyond what is acceptable in any society. That being said, the way that this conversation is being flattened as though the only option here is a full all-out war should be very concerning. The United States is one of the most powerful governments in the entire world and has a massive amount of tools available to it. Everything from infrastructure systems, reestablishing internet access, many other tools are available to us. But acting as though full war is the only option is concerning. Moreover, we need to understand that we are a nation of laws. No president can start a war with any country for any reason or any circumstance, no matter how justified you think it is, without going to Congress and gaining Congress's approval. This is part of the Constitution of the United States of America, that no one president can send this nation into war without the approval and majority of the American people in Congress.
Except, we haven't really done that, unfortunately. No president has really done that since George W. Bush.
Represented in Congress. And so even if you do think and you do support a war with Iran, that case needs to be made to the United States Congress, and we must have a majority of Congress that votes for it. That has not happened, and therefore any war that begins with Iran would be illegal and impeachable. Moreover, we need to understand that we are a
the Democrats will not do that.
I want people to understand, because this issue is so important, and the amount of human rights crises happening in Iran are very severe, and the government's attacks on protesters are horrifying. There are ways that we can help people that don't immediately go to a mass bombing campaign, for which, and I believe, risks real civilian casualties of innocent people. I want people to understand, because this issue is so important, and
are being
amount.
Wait, no. Guys, here's another Dem invoking Schumer and Lindsay's bloodthirst. Oh yeah, Governor Shapiro. Isn't this CIA lib shit? I mean, I don't think so. I think she's saying very clearly, no war with Iran. It's not appropriate. It's not good. It's devastating. And then she talks about, because all of her fucking fans are going to be like, well, what about the people protesting? Because we're at an impasse. I mean, I have to deal with it every fucking day. Oh, well, what about Camila Cabello's take? She's Cubano. You're a white millionaire. It's like, okay, well, she's also a white millionaire. She's richer than I am. What the fuck's your problem? But this is a consistent way to stop having the conversation that you're supposed to be having in this situation. And I think the best way to shoot this down, because AOC's not going to be like, AOC's gonna be like, all power to the IRGC. Inshallah, they will win. It's perfectly valid. It's valid for her to bring up the situation on the ground, while simultaneously saying, do you think that's going to help? Do you think bombing Iran is going to help? No, of course not. Like, you are wrong, Hassan. She understands the implication of but human rights in Iran equals but Hamas. No. Did you even listen? She asked for CIA intervention. I missed the first part. I actually don't know what she said in the beginning.
From the very earliest days of this massacre, we have made clear our stance in support of the Iranian people and the protesters who are being brutally persecuted and victimized by this regime. The shocking levels of violence are beyond what is acceptable in any society. That being said, the way that this conversation is being flattened as though the only option here is a full all-out war should be very concerning. The United States is one of the most powerful governments in the entire world and has a massive amount of tools available to it. Everything from infrastructure systems, reestablishing internet access, many other tools are available to us.
Chatter was hallucinating. Why do people hate AOC like they hate Gavin? Because it's parasocial. They want her to be like a Marxist-Leninist, and she's not. She's just not. She's never gonna be like a fucking diehard anti-imperialist. And people lose sight of like the gains that we could potentially make, and then they just assume that like they just get mad. They get mad and say they get mad and get critical on AOC as though she's not like a cut above most of the members in Congress, because their expectation is that she's supposed to be far beyond. I guess she is far beyond most members of Congress. There are valid instances of critique leaning into Biden, saying they're working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire. Like, those are unacceptable moments in her political career. Those are blemishes in her career that people will rightfully point to, as I have as well. The difference between me and most of the other people is that I grade politicians on a curve. I look at their congressional record, I look at their performance, and I adjust my expectations to what the median congressperson is saying and doing broadly within both parties, but more importantly between the inside of the Democratic Party. And if you actually know anything about AOC's track record, you understand that she is like one of the most consistently progressive politicians in the country. That's it. She is one of the politicians that has the closest politics to you and me. Unfortunately, in a country that is as reactionary as the United States of America, it's not going to be a Marxist-Leninist. I think part of the reason why people feel an additional, like, people pay extra attention to AOC as opposed to Bernie Sanders also is because Bernie Sanders has a long track record of being a radical. He has a 50-year timeline that you can look to, especially at times when he was far, far more radical than he is now. Whereas they look at AOC and they think, oh, you're a lib and you capitulated in a matter of like 2 to 3 years. And I think that's the reason. Another reason is because she's young. She's a woman. She's brown. So I think that probably also causes people to have some implicit biases. Because like when you look at her track record, with the exception of the blemishes that I mentioned, and there are even more blemishes than that, I think one of her biggest weaknesses is like that she feels the need to respond to people like this. And when she does respond, she sometimes actually listens to the cynical criticism. It's the same weakness that Zoran has as well. It's just they haven't been seasoned in the internet world. And even I sometimes give in. Yeah, you're lost on this? You're lost on this one, Chief? Like, this is what I mean. The voting in favor, arming Israel is wild too. She didn't do that. She literally didn't do that. She didn't. She voted against a provision that Marjorie Taylor Greene put out, which I literally think was one of her biggest flubs in general. But she never voted for the payment package at the end. But you don't know that. Yeah, you thought she did. I know. Everyone thinks she did. Why? Because she fucking replied to people on Twitter. Hello? That's what I'm saying. Stop replying to people on Twitter. If there's one thing I've learned from my experience being a leftist content creator in this incredibly interactive media environment, sometimes you just don't fucking listen to people. You just don't have to. You don't have to over fucking explain. Leftists are fucking stupid. We think just because they've done the reading, or at least LARP as though they've done the reading, just because they are on our side, means that they always have like a sincere position. Sometimes they're fucking stupid. There's also a lot of people who engage in this criticism in bad faith. That's even worse. If you're going to reply to someone like Barbarism Critic, okay, at least understand what they're saying and internalize it, and then don't do it again. As far as like getting outflanked by Marjorie Taylor Greene. But you should never, ever in a million fucking years reply to a guy that's like, well, I say we should nuke Havana. No! No! Do we listen to the fucking most reactionary voices in America when we are designing policy? Then why the fuck would we do that for Cuba? I hate this shit where it's like, listen to Cuban voices. No! Some voices don't need to be fucking heard. Okay? AOC's biggest weakness as a politician is how reactive she is. She sees criticism as haters and she reacts too much. No. It's both. It's both that. It's both that she is reactive to, she's not reactive to her left flank in the way that she's supposed to be, which is to like listen to see, like the way she listens to her reactionary flank is the way she should be listening to her left flank, and not the entire left flank, because there's a whole deal of unnecessary and unreasonable and idiotic fucking criticism coming from her left flank. So parsing through that is very difficult, especially when that's all you see, and it hurts worse. I know from my own personal experience, it hurts way more when you hear a person say, I'm a fucking Marxist-Leninist, I got a hammer and sickle in the bio, and guess what? Hassan is actually a fucking bourgeois dumb fuck who wants America to nuke the entire planet. I know for a fact. Okay? That pisses me off more than a million right-wingers saying Hassan loves Hassan loves every fucking regime on the planet and hates America and all this shit. Okay? So there are reasonable criticisms in her left flank that she could be tuned into, she could be listening to. But there are a fuck ton of criticisms to her right that utilize the aesthetic notion of standpoint epistemology and identity politics to be like, as an Israeli with a son in the Israeli occupying forces, like, I think you really need to care about anti-Semitism. Like, if I was a congressperson, if someone came up to me like that, I would be like, get the fuck out of my office. Like, the fuck do you mean? Get the fuck out of my office. Shame on you. You see what I mean? It's ridiculous. The fuck? Okay. Well, Israel's doing a genocide. If you want to talk to me about how you want to fucking destroy that process, we can have a conversation. If you're coming in here to defend Israel, you can suck my entire cock. Like, get the fuck out of here. Oh yeah, let me hear from the German population who have their sons being slain in the fucking Vermont. Oh no, like, get the fuck out of here. What are we doing? Oh, I'm sorry, the concentration camps the father of a concentration camp guard is here to tell me about my anti-Aryan sentiment? What the fuck? Anyway, so that stuff is frustrating. But she has a far better approach to all this shit than anyone else in Congress. With the exception of Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. She's up there with like Ayanna Pressley. I think there's like 3 other congresspersons that are more progressive than she is, but that's it. Okay? You're falling into the argument that leftists aren't electable. What? I'm talking about an electable leftist right now. Hello? Are you listening to a different broadcast? Do you think this is the Asmongold broadcast? The fuck do you mean? Politicians need to lead by example and be unafraid to do so. Unfortunately, the only ones who are unafraid to do so are people who love dick riding Israel into oblivion and fucking people who dick ride corporate interests into oblivion. You think third way neoliberals give a fuck about public sentiment? No, they'll tell you to shut the fuck up. We got to make sure that there are politicians with conviction on the right side of foreign policy issues that can also have that same fucking energy. My biggest problem with AOC is also your biggest problem. You both only respond to the dumbest possible chirpers instead of engaging with genuine, hard-to-answer criticism. For example, when you refuse to realize that bringing back full-time top of the outbreak PBS breaks would be a content goldmine. What do I do? I mean, I might as well fucking end the broadcast at that point. It's literally 3 p.m. It is top of the hour. You can subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service if you would like to. Your subscriptions are totally voluntary, but your subscriptions in the form of a Twitch Prime, which is free. Wait, what the fuck is this, bro? Confession, 188,000 viewers. Asmongold, 106,000 viewers. What the fuck's happening? I don't even want to click on that because I feel like there's some fuck shit going on there, but these are the botters, allegedly. Why are they botting? Chatters were saying it's the botter exposing Asmon. Wait, why were they botting me too then? This guy massively underuses his platform. An American socialist has 354,000 people watching him, and what's the end result? He's a good entry point for people, but I think he also has some responsibility to siphon these people, at least gradually, into some form of organized politics. Wait, what? Dog, not only is this botted, but I already do that. What the fuck's this guy talking about? I want someone to at least like criticize something that I'm not doing for once. Like anytime someone brings some shit up, they're like, yo, you don't do enough of this. It's like, it's a thing that I've been doing. Okay? It's a motherfucking thing that I've been doing nonstop. Asmongold claps back after Hassan pulled up a stream chat and accused him of botting. I don't think I've ever seen anyone be as openly envious and jealous as Hassan. You're a grown man. Hassan was just shown the spike of bots caused on Asmon on his own channel because the bots jumped from Asmon to Hassan's channel and how Twitch doesn't seem to know how to solve it. It had nothing to do with jealousy because the numbers were clearly fake for both channels. So as a response to I don't bot, it was a deflection that Hassan is jealous got it. They're quoting you. You said it earlier. What? You don't hoop? It's true. I don't hoop. Not anymore. I knew they were going to try and say it's not his fault either. It's both of them. Yeah. I wish you had cooler ops. Yeah. Sometimes I do too, that we could have like a lover's quarrel type situation, but my ops are so unwashed. My ops are so unimaginably unwashed and nasty and have the absolute worst fucking takes of all time. So what's this confession account doing? He's just re-streaming Asmongold?
We've been growing up with these like streamers' careers for like years, and Asmon stopped paying us. Mainly Asmon. We've really been doing Asmon. Asmon's been our main guy who's been feeding us for like years, and he's basically stopped. And it happened because we fell into an argument when the bot bugged out, and he wanted us to viewbot other streamers as well, so it doesn't look like it was just him. And then he stopped paying us, and now the final invoice is like 50 grand, and like he hasn't paid that. It's like monthly recurring bills, and this month is 50 grand. He's not paying it.
Lying, they're just botters. How do you think I make money botting, bro? It's fucking. What is the point of making a view bot unless I'm selling views?
Wait, so they're just.
Not a lie. You want me to? We're view botting him right now. Look at how many views this idiot has. He has 100,000 views. We moved those views from this channel to his channel right now. We did that like 5-10 minutes ago. Or I mean 6-7 minutes ago, something like that.
I don't get it. So they're just like straight up leaking all this shit? So where will this information go?
Incriminate ourselves. This is as far as it goes.
Bro, we should have intercepted the fucking menu browser, bro.
Well,
what the fuck? It's too late. I'll show you proof of me logging into TikTok.
Careful, they're Nazis. They said Asmon not paying them makes him a Jew, so they might say some insane shit. Oh.
Shout out XQC. Shout out H3H3 podcast. And
who else? And
Fuck
Sneeko.
the
Shout out
fucker.
Sneeko. Sneeko
Shout
is
out
the...
Sneeko.
We love Sneeko. Sneeko's the realest one. Sneeko has never paid for
Fold.
V-Bucks.
Sneeko didn't fold for the view bots.
Yes.
Sneeko didn't fold for the
Shout
gambling
out
deal.
Sneeko. Sneeko is the realest streamer ever. He's never paid for a V-Bot. I'll confirm that right now. That guy never pays for a single V-Bot.
What about Nick Fuentes? Nick Fuentes is he's a homosexual.
Yeah, that guy goes on dates with Chinese. Can't see that guy.
They knew you'd watch. They knew you'd watch, so they say this on purpose. They aren't showing receipts.
Hello?
Might be attention seekers or
you're
blackmail.
lagging, bro.
We'll find out if they're lying or not if they say I view bot. I want to know what they're gonna say.
Yeah, you're lagging. You're lagging.
But
Nick
it would
is
it
a
would make me
homosexual.
it would help
You
me
can't take
realize
Nick's
whether they're
political
lying
opinions
about
seriously
fucking
as well,
Asmongold
okay?
and everybody else or
You can't
not.
take these hypocrites seriously. These people are the hypocrite liars. So fuck Nick, and this cockroach muncher, and that terrorist Hasanabi. These people are awful. These political streamers are all awful. They're all terrible people who don't stand by what they say. So if you take advice from these people, you're behind in life again. I've said this like sometimes. You are so behind. These people suck. Nick Fuentes sucks. Asmongold sucks. And Hasanabi's a fucking terrorist who spreads fucking terrorist propaganda.
You guys want to know something? You want to know something? Remember when the right-wing Avengers went into the club and they were playing the Ye song Heil Hitler?
Heil Hitler.
And everyone was blaming it on Sneeko. Andrew Tate was blaming it on Sneeko. All those people were blaming it on Sneeko. It was that little short midget guy, Nick Fuentes, that little short racist homosexual guy. And like I said, I'm gonna repeat myself. I have no problem with homosexuals. I love gay people, but Nick Fuentes, he's a homosexual. So, and he did request the song to be played.
I don't get it. So they're like, what? These guys like, they're like weirdo Nazis, but they love H3H3, and they love Sneeko, but they fucking say I'm a terrorist. Like, how is that? How do you arrive at a worldview like this? Like, I don't understand. So like, they hate me because I'm not like a Holocaust denier. But Nick Fuentes is a fucking Holocaust denier, and they say he's like a gay Nazi.
There's not a lot of people that knows how to reverse the Twitch viewbot system.
Hey, Asmon, pay these guys. Who else is Asmongold gonna pay? The best in the game, bro. Like the fuck? He's not gonna pay Neon's kickbotters, alright?
Yeah, bro. What do you think? These people are using unironically, these people are using Selenium Indian bot farms to run their views, and that's why their shit is so ass.
They're not EU Nazis, bro. They're
Asmongold's
fucking
paying for
actually.
top quality shit, alright? He's not paying for fucking Selenium browser Chrome extensions fucking opening up, alright?
Yeah,
That's not what he's
Selenium.
paying for.
No, it's like,
Actually, that low-key does make sense though, because like his majority viewership is from Europe. I wonder if it's just like because the bots are from Europe.
back end that like connects to Twitch and counts it as a view. They're just like opening up a bunch of browser tabs instead of actually doing like a raw system. So it's like super amateur with the view bots they have.
We showed a chimpanzee the average American's politics, and he killed himself.
Situation, by the way. He's
Look
so
at
good
the
at
Meg
it.
Griffin. Yo, look at the bunny. Yo, Eric, you see the chat with the bunny?
I do.
The bunny.
I don't know if I believe any of the shit that they're saying.
Get off the internet. You two need to do something to.
These guys are fake. The technical stuff they're saying is basically Star Trek techno babble that makes no
Bro, This
sense.
is fucking character development.
Yeah, what are you doing with your fucking time,
Instead
you
of-
idiots? Excuse me.
This is-
what are you
This
doing?
is the part of the plot. This is the part in the plot of the movie when the fucking character develops so fucking far, bro.
What are these guys doing?
Yeah, they're
bro?
showing no documents at all, so I don't know how I don't know how to judge the veracity of the information here. And I think Twitch might have taken them out, or at least like they're not showing up on the top.
Make a bunch of money selling views. You sit on Twitch all day watching people donating money like a loser. You want to know something, bro? The streamers are donating money to me, and you're donating money to them.
See,
and then
he's
you know
not
what
in
they're
the
doing with
top
the money you
anymore.
give to them? They give it to me. They give the money to me. The money you give to them.
Circle, and it's a full circle. It's been like this for like
It's
years.
not a circle because it's not a circle. It's
Oh,
just
it's-
a you. Because
yes.
as soon as
So
I get
Twitch
the money-
knows that these guys are doing this, and they just like took them out. I'm sure it'd be easy to post screenshots and sources of Asmon trying to buy bots. I wouldn't believe anything without proof. Yeah.
It's just you guys. So that's great. What are you guys doing? Telling us to go do something. What are
We're
you guys
listening
doing?
to the top.
I don't see you guys with 300,000.
We're listening to the top channel on the fucking platform right now with 189,000 views, as they're like quote unquote exposing Asmongold for buying bots from them. And Asmongold is ignoring it, which is very odd because he's like that's what I'm like confused by. Why the fuck is Asmongold ignoring this when they're like directly restreaming his stream?
Off of his channel right now. Everybody pay attention. I'm gonna take the views off of Asmongold's channel and then put them back onto our channel. You're gonna see his views drop and ours go up. Give me a second.
108K. Look at his chat. He ignores it. His chat is talking about it and he ignores. He doesn't talk about the view bots. He's really good at ignoring it. So he's good. He's so good at avoiding controversy. He's literally PR trained. He's Twitch PR trained.
I mean, these guys' fucking worldview is so brain broken.
CP links on his notepad. He's PR trained. Okay, so he's not going to interact with the view bots.
Oh yeah, like that black guy. He opened up the CP links.
Yes.
That shit was a movie. That shit was an actual movie.
Ask them for receipts. Mods are deleting shit in Asmongold's chat.
Sorry, yeah, that guy. That guy's a fucking weirdo. You cannot be that guy. And he's not that guy. He's not going to interact with the V-bots. He's not going to get himself involved in controversy.
I don't think Asmongold is... If they can only take out Asmongold down to like 40K, then he's not view-botting. Or at least he's using... Yeah, they took him down to like 77K now. Like right after they said they would. How is that channel not banned yet?
He had the systems.
Bro, we're just using buzzwords. Like, the fuck?
I gotta restart.
Yeah, like his channel went down to 52K.
These guys are script kiddies.
You're slow stuff. Yes, bro. I'm at capacity with 300,000 open connections to Twitch, bro. Like, I'm sorry, bro. You got me, bro. My capacity is fucking a 250,000 open network connections. You finally have caught me.
I wouldn't believe it unless he goes under 50. Yeah, he goes down to like 50K when they take the boss away. But that would still mean that he has like 50K real viewers, which I don't think is the case. I like right now, my assessment is that these guys just started botting Asmongold the other day. Unless they had like verifiable proof, documentation, something like that. And especially if like Asmongold is like hasn't paid him like 50K or whatever, then there's no reason for them not to leak this shit, right? So unless in the absence of like verifiable evidence that they put out there, it's tough to believe them. And the only thing is like they're probably just botting him right now to feed into the controversy. And that's it. Like they're botting currently to feed into the controversy and to make like a big show of it or whatever. And then now they've flipped it over to me.
My dog, okay, stop. Yo, Hassan Piker, we H3 family over here, bro. Fuck Hassan Piker, we H3 family over here.
He's talking about you right now? Yeah, I think they're just advertising their bots, which by the way is crazy that Twitch has done nothing about it.
Asmon has been paying us and the invoices are behind her.
It's a different person than the usual 10 to 12K boss, basically applying a smoke screen.
We're not advertising our bots.
You are a terrorist. We're not advertising. This is not for sale. You're a moron and you're a terrorist. You are a terrorist. You should get deported.
Deported. My man said deported. Issue family Mossad bots? No, they don't like. They like Sneeko, so they're not like pro-Israel either.
That's what you're behind. You're a terrorist, Hassan. You're a fucking terrorist.
It's so funny hearing a British person go, "You need to be deported."
You're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. You're a danger to American society. Fuck you. Fuck your opinions. Fuck your country. You should get out of there.
They should show the DMs. Asmongold's not even acknowledging these guys, which is probably the smart thing to do. But if they were to actually show some proof, then I would think of it as something beyond just like a bunch of dudes that are botting a bunch of different channels right now, only to stir up controversy or potentially advertise their bots. Watch out for what they might say. Yeah. Who's the other guy? I don't know. Asmongold is falling for your North Korea bait tweet right now? Yeah, it doesn't. I don't give a shit.
You misspreads information. You want death to fucking America. You literally show propaganda. You're a terrorist.
Guy who loves Sneeko, but says I'm a terrorist is a very fascinating character, by the way. He likes Sneeko. He likes Ethan Klein H3H3, and he fucking despises me because he's eaten the American propaganda through and through. Tell him you don't give a fuck. Just ask him not to bot you. I mean, if I say that, they're gonna bot me, so I'm not saying any of that. Stop feeding these viewbot trolls. I just want to know what the fucking evidence is. That's all it is. CSSWE guy, you can use ChatGPT to make bots. It isn't that difficult to do. The expensive part for something like Twitch view botting is paying for the large pools of EU residential IPs to make the traffic look like real EU viewers. What they do isn't special or hard. They are losers. I mean, I don't understand how any of this shit works. So for me, it's fucking rocket science. A Brit telling you your country is a shithole, but then saying you're a terrorist for saying death to America, which I know you didn't, doesn't make sense. No, I don't think this guy loves Israel because he said he loves Sneeko. So I can't even understand. I don't know. Also, what I don't understand is why my presence is like so triggering for this guy. If you want attention and you're getting it from me, I'm shocked that you would be losing your fucking mind like this on your stream.
Person, bro, you shock your dog. You fucking hate America. You're a fucking terrorist. You platform terrorism. You're shocking. You're a horrifying person, bro.
You're an animal abuser.
It's not rocket science. It's computer science. I know, but computer science is rocket science for me. They're fucking fanning out.
Sneeko doesn't view bot, and he's a nice guy. He doesn't kill dogs. He doesn't abuse
Kill dogs.
You spread Chinese and terrorist propaganda. You abuse your dog. You're a fucking awful person.
Oh, they're triggered into oblivion, dude. Why are they whining like toddlers? This shit's unbearable. I wonder what they think about Destiny.
Like Tim pulling them, who is getting paid by Russia, except you're getting paid by China. You're just like them.
Guy who says I'm getting paid by China won't even show the receipts from Asmongold. Their cortisol is spiking.
Love Israel, but we love Sneeko. We hate Hassan, so they're so confused. They are so confused on what we stand on. They're both awful. How about that? They're just both awful, guys. They're both sides are awful, and I don't care. How about that? I don't care. I don't give a shit about what's going on in the Middle East. That man is a danger to American society. How about that? How
But
about
you're
that
not
he's
even
spreading
American.
Death to America on live stream.
Death to America on live
That's it.
stream.
That's all. That's the full stop of it. I don't give a shit about which Middle Eastern guy is murdering who out in the fucking sand. I don't care. It's about what this guy says and what this guy spreads as his message. With his
Yeah, the message I spread is free Palestine. But I guess you don't care. So that is like you're a terrorist. So does Sneeko, by the way. But I guess you like Sneeko personally. Edgy motherfuckers are so lame, like fully aside the shock value and whatnot. They're not even creative. At least say something other than spamming terrorists over and over again. No, he like lost his fucking mind. That's why he was like, "You're a terror. You're a terrorist. You're a danger to America." As a British man, you're a danger to America. How dastardly. I'm shaking right now. You're a fucking bellend, lad. These guys are the fucking Hillary Clinton supporters. They're lame as hell. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm fascinated by what their politics are. Because like the reason why people call me a terrorist is because I'm anti-Israel. Right? Like that's where it comes from. But I think they just don't have any real political opinions at all. They're just being edgy and trolling. I still don't understand how the fuck Twitch hasn't done anything about it. They're cuck-pilled. Yeah. So many people like this get their politics from like, Nooks Taku and people like that though. Which is pretty funny. The one time you don't spam the soundboard shaking my head. Yeah, it's the apolitical, I'm a politics understander, I'm a edgy centrist attitude demonstrated by people who don't actually have any real fucking real political worldview, real political opinions whatsoever, and they're just like, I watched a bunch of like drama accounts and that's how I developed my point of view. The best way I can describe it is they hate you because they think you're woke. No, but then they hate Nick Fuentes. They think I hate America. Who the fuck linked these Nazis? I don't even know. I mean, I guess they're H3H3 fans, which is strange. Honestly, I think they're this.
Liberal. Happy fun, la la la. Human smuggling, fentanyl deaths. forced government euthanasia, chopping up children's genitals, la 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 la.
That fan base gained a lot of Nazi following. True. That is true. I think they know H3H3 is going to go after and say they are fans based just on that, i.e. 13-year-old trolls. I don't think they are. Explain how it's strange that they're H3 fans. They're all over the place with their favorite content creators. That's why I'm saying, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But maybe they're liberals. I don't know. But then what fucking liberal would like Sneeko? You know? They want to talk to you. No, I'm not going to fucking talk to the botters, dude. Are you crazy? Post receipts and then that's it. Post receipts and we'll see where it goes. What if they're just stupid? I mean, I think they aren't very intelligent. They might be good at, like, doing botting, but they're clearly not very intelligent when it comes to politics. You're an insane person for thinking that they have genuine political positions. Everything is just online memes. Yeah, I forget that, like, a lot of especially young Gen Z and like Gen Alpha just like don't have any fucking worldview whatsoever, and only care about the drama. But they don't even have like a coherent worldview. They're like bringing up. They are bringing up politics when they talk about like Tim Pool being paid by Russia. I think that's a valid fucking thing to be concerned about, right? And if you know that and you're bringing that up, that means you have at least like something up there. Oh, they got nuked. Oh, bummer. I mean, these are the type of guys that I don't really mind opposing me. It's what I expect. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of fucking reactionary botters being like, I hate you and I love H3H3 is not exactly something that is a shock to me. Call them script kiddies. If they're computer science guys, they'll be very triggered. Yeah. The light to your left should not be as strong as the warm one on your left. No, it's because of this time of the day got hit with a lot of natural light. It was causing the stream to hiccup, micro Fs when they're bodied. It wouldn't be surprised that that's been fucking with your connection for the last while. No. My job requires me to try to understand exactly where a lot of people like this are coming from. So, so that I can better pull them out of like whatever kind of fucking stupor that they're in. So that's the reason why. I mean, I'm personally fascinated by guys like this and like how they arrive at their worldview. But the reason why I want to understand where they're coming from is so that I can better communicate like what's wrong about their worldview, try to help them get out of it and become productive members of society, hopefully. So I won't shy away from, trying to develop a better understanding of where like a lot of younger generation people are getting their notes and like how they're developing their worldview. Yeah, we're gonna do the DNC autopsy story in a second, which is another moment of absolute and utter vindication for your boy. The number one terrorist on the internet, of course. Yeah. You don't understand that you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved? I don't think that's how it works. Because if someone has a worldview like that, they're not alone. That means that there are other people like that too, right? So if I can isolate and identify where this kind of like indecipherable worldview is coming from, even if I can't get those guys to develop a more coherent political ideology, there are plenty of people who are also caught up in the same internet environment, drama cycles and whatnot that I could potentially reach out to. You know? Do they actually think you're being paid by China? Doubtful, to be honest. It's just the shit they know to say to get a reaction like you kill your dog, Lamau. Yeah, probably. But maybe they do. Maybe they legitimately think I get paid by China. I don't know. The thing is, that you're a terrorist is coming from your Iran take? No, I don't think that's what it's coming from. I think that's just what people have been saying for the last like 2 to 3 years. So many people that don't really care about politics in general have like watched these drama videos. That's why they kept saying, you platform terrorists, you platform terrorists. It's mostly from the Israel news cycle. And these guys don't even fuck with Israel either. I assume they don't even like Jewish people. So it's mostly people that get their takes from Reddit. All right, let's get to Kamala Harris, who terrorized their campaign. Scoop. Dems working on secret report found Gaza cost Harris votes. Top Democratic officials who worked on the party's still secret autopsy of the 2024 election concluded that Kamala Harris lost significant support because of Biden's administration's approach to the war in Gaza, Axios has learned. Now, I want you to understand something. This autopsy report is probably not going to be as critical as it should, because I suspect that even the autopsy is still being conducted by consultants that have the same... I'm going to get back to Mexico after this. Consultants that have the same exact approach. They have the same investment. Like, they want to make sure that the Democratic Party still hires them. So they're not going to go super hard. But the very fact that even this report was so daggering, so blistering that they did not choose to reveal it is insane. It means that even the DNC hired consultants that looked at the facts found some undeniable issues with the strategy that the Democrats don't want to admit out loud. The DNC's research on what went wrong in 2024 has been under lock and key since party leaders decided last year to hide it from the public, a reflection of how explosively it could resonate with the party and beyond. Progressive and moderate Democrats are particularly divided on Israel, with the left more critical of that nation's actions against Palestinians in Gaza, and many questioning the U.S.'s unwavering support of Israel. During her brief campaign, Harris sought to strike a balance, showing strong support for Israel, but calling for a ceasefire and expressing sympathy for Palestinians under attack in Gaza, as well as the hostages being held by Hamas. DNC aides putting together a report on Harris's loss to Donald Trump had a closed-door conversation with a pro-Palestinian group about the Israel-Gaza conflict. Activists from the IMEU Policy Project told the DNC that the Biden-Harris administration's support for Israel was a factor in the party's losses because it drained support from some young people and progressives. Hamid Bendas, a spokesperson for the IMEU Policy Project, said that during the meeting, the DNC shared with us their own data, also found that policy was, in their words, a net negative in the 2024 election. So basically, they're just co-signing the IMEU report. Axios independently verified that the Democratic officials conducting the autopsy believed the Gaza issue harmed the party's standing with some voters. Two other senior aides of the pro-Palestinian organization also said the DNC had drawn that conclusion. Axios independently verified that Democrat officials conducting the autopsy believed the issue harmed the party's standing with some voters. The IMEU Policy Project is now accusing the DNC of withholding its report in part because of its findings on Israel. DNC spokesperson Kendall Whitmer denied that. When DNC officials announced last year that they wouldn't release the audit, they said it was because they didn't want the report to distract from the work of winning elections. Yo, dude, come on, dude. Come the fuck on. It's not just Gaza. I'm willing to bet a sincere analysis would find that every single fucking point that I brought up in the election played a big role in eating away at different chunks of the base of support, leaning into the right, pivoting to a moderate opinion on issues like immigration, behaving trying to do business as usual politics, not just Gaza. Yeah, being on the side of billionaires too much. Not having enough populist messaging, not having issues that they're defined by, and then therefore being defined by their opposition. As for a comment, pointed to the former vice president's recent comments about the war in Gaza on their tour stop for the memoir 107 Days. We should have done more as an administration, Harris said at the event, adding, we should have spoken publicly about our criticism of how Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu executed the war. They're still not going hard enough. Flashback, Harris said in her book that President Biden's unpopularity, which she argued was partly because of his perceived blank check to Netanyahu, harmed her in 2024. Harris wrote that she privately pleaded with Biden to show more empathy to civilians in Gaza, but during her campaign, she denied to publicly break with him over Israel. Yeah, okay. Well, another moment of vindication, another moment of utter vindication. This framing of Democrats being divided is true among Dem elected officials, but it's not true among voters. Very few Dem voters, a mere 3% in latest YouGov poll, support increasing aid to Israel. Officials just don't seem to care that their voters or Israel's about the voters or Israel's many war crimes. Yeah, When you read shit like this, how do you fight the controlled opposition narrative? I don't. It's the truth. The Democratic Party is the controlled opposition party. It's true. That doesn't mean it will forever be the controlled opposition party. That doesn't mean that it can't go to a more productive place. I'm trying to activate the voters. I'm trying to activate the real people, not the fucking party. I'm trying to activate the people through the party at times by getting members elected. But I'm trying to, first and foremost, awaken the people, okay?
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
Damn, this guy's good.